Hello, gamers. Welcome to the Galaxy of Games. That is, Gamers Galaxy. I am your host, WT, and I'm here today with my amazing co-host, Rubik, and we'll be taking you on this adventure into space, talking about what is this sorcery? A trading card game where you own your own assets, own your own IP, and engage in excitement and rewards. Rubik, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm very good. Pumped for this episode. There's so much going on. We've had a number of interviews and some really exciting, advancements happening. Getting so close to ZKAVM releasing, and our guest Nicky has some insights into that as well. So, welcome to the show, Nicky. How are you, mate?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for that awesome intro. I'm doing well. Happy to be here.
You're the founder, CEO of What Is This Sorcery, a trading card game. Can you tell us about yourself, your experience with what's been going on so far with it? And it looks like you also pivoted out of Web 2 into crypto games?
I wouldn't say Web 2 gaming into crypto games, but, just over 2.5 years ago, I was like a co-owner in a marketing agency doing traditional global marketing for some large clients in the cruise industry. And then I kind of transitioned into the Web3 industry with my own marketing agency, focusing specifically on NFT projects. And to date, like that agency is still alive, and we've done over 275 projects. We've helped our clients raise over $175 million of revenue. And, some highlights are obviously Zynga Games. If you guys know Zynga Games, that we helped them launch into the Web3 space. So that was a lot of fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what's your experience? What's your, tell us about yourself, Nicky. Let's get to know you a bit better.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, I've been in the Web3 space for just over around 2 years. And honestly, my entire time in the space has been on the back end of projects, doing a lot of the marketing, a lot of the strategy for go-to-markets for a lot of these different brands and projects entering the space. So that's really where my experience lies. To be honest, like when we started building WITS, we had no intentions of building a game. It kind of is just something that evolved as we were building, and it turned into a passion project more so than anything. And it's been about 22 months now that we've been developing it. So yeah, I would say, to be honest, I've never built a game before. Our team, we have members on the team who are very experienced, but this is all a new adventure for me, and I'm all for it, having an absolute blast doing it.
Yeah. So what's the story? How did it go? Tell us the journey. How did it go from being something that wasn't a game to actually something that's a game? Was it just a bit intrigued by how something could start off as not a game but turn into a game? I've heard the other way around. Slack was going to be an MMO, and Delysium was going to be a first-person shooter, and it turned into just an AI project. So, how did you go from not a game to a game?
Yeah, I know it's a little odd, But
yeah,
essentially, like when we were first ideating this project, it was really meant to be a art upgrade for a small alpha group that I actually own and operate. We had kind of created this funny little baby art, and there's a bunch of these little babies, and they signify the alpha group membership. And it started as an art upgrade, really. And then over time, we started writing story for the different characters we were building. We started integrating the blockchain into it, like in terms of telling the story of the blockchain. And then we thought we were going to do an animated TV series. So we were doing kind of a bunch of animations. And then, our true passion, like me and the co-founder, Johnny, we are both big trading card guys, collected a lot of trading cards growing up. And, we still play TCG games to this day. So we said, you know what, why don't we just integrate what we're really passionate about into this project? Like, we're obviously not sure where we wanted to go with it at the time. And here we are today. We have a working prototype of a TCG.
That's awesome. Yeah, you kind of gave you gave the secret sauce there to where this came and the inspiration. I gotta know, what is this sorcery name title? How did you guys come up with that? Is that like an inside joke or something? I get that kind of vibe. What's up with the name? I need to know.
There's a few like origin stories for the name. I mean, part of it was like the meme of like, you know, like people saying like, what is this sorcery, and just getting like confused when something's happening, and then
Yes,
a little bit of that. Obviously the blockchain is confusing to people, so
okay.
well, yeah, it was also a little bit of a tidbit at that, because the blockchain's not an easy place to traverse, and you know, whenever I try and explain to people what I do for a living, they're like, what what is the sorcery? So there it is, and honestly it works out into a really cool acronym too, like WITS.
Yep,
You know, get your wits about you.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So I mean, we even named our studio after that. Like, obviously, because I had the marketing agency, I had to branch out our own studio. So it's called What Is This Studio?
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the go of the game? Want to give us a rundown of, you know, how the game, what type of TCG it is? You can go into as much as you want here. Like I'm actually, it's hard to get a lot of information on what's coming out, and I believe it's coming out soon. So what can we expect, and how can we learn about this world, and what is this world about, and how do you play the game?
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll kind of guide you through first, like a tidbit about what the IP and the story is about, because that's like where the true magic happens, is in the story and what we're trying to do here. And then I'll guide you into the TCG, and then we actually have another playable game for the NFT owners and crypto owners and stuff on our website, which is more of like an idled game. So what I'll do is I'll start with the IP and essentially just explain briefly of what that is. So what is the sorcery? Essentially, you can think of it as an allegory for the story of Web3. Right, so we take all the major historical events that have happened in Web3, and we tell them in a more fun, digestible, and fictitious manner, and really getting people interested in the story behind crypto and its inception. Right, so you know, we have characters like Vitalik Buterin. He's the leader of the Light faction. His character name is Vibu. We have a character for Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler's backstory is his name was Gargans. He's a space pirate. He's chasing down this powerful magical comet because he wants to destroy it and take its magic. He goes through a little egotistical death where he basically changes his name to Drath and vows to take over this new planet that he found called Katina. Katina is Latin translated for chains, so it's the world of chains, which I think is pretty interesting and cool to think about. But yeah, and then, you know, obviously there's the actual comet itself that I spoke about with its magical powers, and that comet's called Satanako. And Satanako, if you guessed, is based off of Satoshi Nakamoto. And
okay.
Yeah, so it's a little interesting. So we take a little bit of everything in terms of like the world of crypto and its inception and where it all came from. And we kind of change things around and we tell it in a more fun way. It's not as predictable as you think it might be, mainly because we change a little bit of the events here and there so that the story isn't bland. But yeah, if you guys want to ask anything there, I'm happy to answer, and then we'll hop into the next little.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question about like how are people outside of crypto going to be able to easily understand like this, or would you think they're going to need crypto back knowledge to really appreciate the story?
So that's the cool thing. That's the cool thing that I think about the story, is that you actually don't need any knowledge of crypto to understand what's going on. If you think of it as a simple villain and hero arc, you have the bad characters, you have the good characters, you have the fight against good and evil, and overall the story is pretty interesting, right? So like, I mean, maybe just because of me and I'm a nerd and I'm biased, I'm very interested in the story, but I've shown a lot of people and they all really think it's cool and intriguing. So,
no, you got me. I honestly come into this interview not doing a lot of research because I've had a lot to do. I've got a 2-month-old baby, and I'm really excited for it already, just from what you've said already. So let's keep going.
Yeah, you sold me with Gary Gensler being the bad guy. I'm sold.
I'm in, all in. Get up and take my money.
That's awesome.
No, I'm glad that you guys like it. But yeah, why don't I hop into like the TCG and how that's going to kind of play a part in it?
Okay.
All right, cool. So essentially, the actual aspect of the game, you don't need any crypto or any NFTs to be able to play this game. My biggest kind of push for Web3 gaming is the case where that any gamer can kind of log in, sign up, and play a game without any friction. So I've always been a pro. Less friction is better. Mainly because if I were to introduce this game to some of my friends in real life, I don't want them to think anything about crypto. I don't want them to have to make a wallet. I don't want them to have to buy NFTs. They should just play a game, and the game should be fun to play. If they want to slowly learn about crypto, that's when they start to dip their toes in the Web3 aspect of the game. So owning the assets, so owning the NFTs, is going to generate rewards every single game. So what I mean by that is every single competitive ranked game, so we obviously have competitive game mode, every single competitive ranked game in our TCG will yield rewards. Let me just say an arbitrary number of 10,000. If there's 10,000 in-game off-chain currency available in that game, maybe the player himself gets 1,000, and then the rewards then are split into the cards that are in that winning deck, right? So let's say you guys own one card each, and they're in the winning deck that I just played. You guys will get a portion of those rewards directly into your account because you own the NFTs. So
okay.
you can imagine, as this game grows and the player base grows, you're earning more and more. And you might ask, like, why would I want an off-chain currency on my account? Well, the easy question there, or the easy answer there for me, is just those in-game off-chain currencies are going to be redeemable for crypto. So our actual token, the WITS token, will be redeemable in that aspect, so that you can essentially trade your in-game currency for crypto, or you can use it, to buy avatars, game boards, packs of cards within the game, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, we're seeing that strategy in other games in the Immutable ecosystem. Is that something that they're passing around as a strategy or something? It sounds very familiar now, within the last couple of weeks.
Is it a mobile game, or is it a desktop game?
It's desktop right now. We are going to include mobile in the future. It's just a matter of the development phases that we're in. But yeah, no, I haven't, Immutable didn't tell us the way that goes, but you know what? It's obviously a good idea of how to distribute rewards if everyone's thinking of it, and that's the way to go, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's how I think about it. So if everyone's trying to implement it, that clearly means that it's a good idea and that people are trying to onboard the right crowd, I guess.
It's happening because the
regulations.
Mobile. While I asked about is it a mobile game, is because the app stores aren't allowing crypto directly to be spent for things. I think it is in there. I don't. There's certain limitations what you can do with crypto inside a mobile game that's used on the app store. So, Guild of Guardians, a fellow Canadian, if being right now, their model is to have crypto outside of the game because of similar to what you just said.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly.
So exactly. Yeah, insightful. If you didn't know that for sure, and you've made this model anyway, it's. I've always thought it anyway. It makes more sense to get crypto out of the game and just have the soft currency. And I always thought that you could just make it people redeem that soft currency back for crypto whenever they wanted to get out. And anyway, we'll see how it all turns out in the long run. But yeah, it's very interesting to see that this style you've gone with.
Anything else you want to say about the core mechanics before we hit the next question?
I mean, TCGs are relatively simple in their mechanics, right? So the biggest touch point that I would have to say is the hardest part of it is balancing cards and constantly, updating the game like that. But other than that, no, I think the model speaks for itself. And I think that if you enjoy the IP, you'll be able to enjoy the game just as much, especially when you talk about cash tournaments and all that kind of fun stuff. So.
Awesome. Well, you've kind of given some of the pretext of the next question here, but is there is there a longer term strategy that you're looking at down the road? I know the game's very new. It's technically not even out to my recollection. But is there a vision that you have for down the road?
Yeah, like my whole plan and like the team that we work, like our team is very, very heavy on going straight to Web 2 consumers, right? Like it's kind of like the old saying, when you build it, they will come. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes very true for Web 3 games. When Web 3 native people realize that a game is getting a lot of traction, they're naturally going to come and gravitate towards it because they want to figure out where the next opportunity is. So if you build and your whole entire MO is basically targeting the audience that you don't have easy access to, the audience that you have easy access to will end up coming. And that's how you'll grow that community even more. So our main attraction is going directly to like large Web 2 streamers, offering, sums of money that are substantial to, for them to put in front of their audience, and then offering those same amounts of money to the audiences by, via tournaments and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah,
and I didn't just
great.
blab.
What's the long-term vision of the IP? Like you said, you've got another game as well. Is that playable now, or is...
Yeah, so that game is in development and it will be playable. That's specifically more for the native crypto people because, it's like a soft, think of it as like an idle game is like a soft staking program where you have your NFTs, you put them in a soft staking, we call it an adventure, for X amount of time. So you have like 5 different times to choose from, like 24 hours all the way up to 3 weeks. The more NFTs that you send on an adventure, and for the longer period of time, you have higher % chance to get more rare and like legendary materials. And you collect those materials and then you go to our crafting machine. It's called like the crafting pot. Oh, wow. And the more higher tier items you put into this crafting pot, it'll spit out a higher tier or a higher % chance of a better item. So it can go anywhere from, you can win, let's just say 1 token, right? All the way up to like, you can win an Xbox, for example.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, the prizes and rewards really vary in there, physical, digital. But yeah.
Any chance of a cross synergy with WITS in that other game, or are you just going to keep them completely separate?
No, they are. So they are kind of like, I don't want to say interoperable, but they do live in the same world, right? So,
okay.
Yeah. You'll be able to earn the in-game currency, the cryptocurrency, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Is the NFTs from WITS the things you stake in this game, or are they different collections?
Same thing. Those NFTs you earn rewards with will also be able to be staked to earn more rewards.
Can you play with them when they're staked, or is that when they're on the adventure they're not playable? So
that's the thing, is because remember what I said before, is you don't need the NFTs to play the game. Those NFTs are your driver for rewards, right? So you might, let's just say that you own one NFT and it's a specific card in the game, and then in the actual game you have to go and collect that card by opening packs and stuff, right? Because the in-game assets are different from the NFT assets where you'll earn rewards, right?
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you can play with any deck you want, but if you actually own that card when you play it, then it gets you higher rewards. Is that how
exactly? And then even if your brother, sister, mother, or cousin or whatever wants to play the game, and you tell them, hey, use all these cards in your deck because I own them and I want more rewards. If they go play the game and they use those cards in their deck and they win, you get the rewards as well as them. So they'll get rewards for winning. You'll get rewards for them using your cards.
So kind of like a rental system?
In a sense, yeah. That's, I guess, an easy way to think about it, yeah.
Mate, we could probably go on all day about this game. Every time we ask a question, another little gem comes out. So, but in the long term with the IP, is TCG the focus, or is there a big, is it see how it goes and then what potential expansion, or do you have plans to build something else on top of the TCG and on top of this staking program, like a MMO or an ARPG or something like that?
Yeah, I think that the minute you get ahead of yourself and you start planning for things like that in the future, you start to lose focus of what, the IP and what the most important part is about, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to kind of we're building our IP out in the form of the TCG, and that's the direction we're going to focus on. If in the future we have, hundreds of thousands of players and, it's growing and people want more from it, there's always the opportunity to go down different routes, animated TV series, MMOs, whatever it might be. There's always more options in the future, right? So I think right now we're going to focus on the TCG. I didn't say this, but I'll just throw it out there, but the TCG digital and physical, because the physical cards will also come out within the first 5 to 6 months or so.
Wow.
The physical cards are actually. I want to say this quick, and I want to sneak it in because I forgot to mention it. But the physical cards are actually 1-to-1 matched with every single NFT in the collection. So if we have 100,000 cards, there's 100,000 physical cards in the first limited edition, and those cards we have this, and it's called an NTAG 213 chip that will live inside of the layers of the card. So when you tap it on your phone, it'll show you the digital version of that card and where you can buy it. And that card is a verified. Yeah, the card is a verified piece of our collection, etc. All that kind of fun stuff.
Oh wow! I've heard about some of this stuff from other projects, but I haven't seen it incorporated yet. That's awesome. I don't know if you can say it or not. If you can't, I understand. Two-part question here. Are you going ZK EVM or Stark X? And how has your experience with Immutable been so far?
We are going ZK EVM, so we'll launch the NFT sale on day 1 of ZK EVM, and then slowly roll out the rest of the project. And my experience with Immutable has been amazing. Their team has been super, super helpful. Showing us all the different tools that they have as part of Immutable, introducing us to their network to basically expand our reach and expand kind of the horizons of what we can do. They've been great the whole entire time in terms of from the first meeting that we had with them and their excitement for our project, and then kind of expanding on that the entire way. So I've loved working with Immutable so far, and I'm excited to get going on the new ZK EVM powered by Polygon.
What's the is it? We don't want to sound like too much like shills, so we asked this question as well. Like, what's the thing you think they could improve in the most in regards to working with you guys?
Immutable?
Yeah.
So the one thing that I think that they can improve, and this is just obviously a personal experience, I'm sure it's different for many different games and people working with them, but just having the bandwidth to be able to support everybody, because and I know it's a huge sprint right now, and they're onboarding so many games, but having the bandwidth to be able to support all of those games, because you should see the developer Discord, it's insane. Like, people are constantly asking questions like, "Hi, ZK EVM testnet, I need to get my custom contract deployer address allow listed so I'm able to launch." And then you're put on a wait list, and if you're not a partner with them, you're probably at the bottom of the wait list. So I think just having more of that support would definitely go a long way in helping them continue to grow that ecosystem.
Yeah, this is not a new comment from you, mate. To be honest with you, it's
right.
They're a victim of their own success, So that's So they can't, even if they went and hired 100 devs, you got to bring them up to speed, and you have to have the money to be able to support it, and they just can't afford to go and they'd need 100 more devs to be able to, I think, handle as many games as want to come on. Like, I get people come to me and go, "Can you get me in contact with them? I've been trying to contact them for 2 months." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll do my best." And I reach out to some of my contacts, and I've got some of the guys like that were pretty good partners going through this as well. And it's the guy I've complained, and I'm not joking, 20 times to a couple of my contacts about how bad this aspect of them is. And they're going, "There's nothing we can do. Like, what can we do? Like, we're literally got 350 employees. We've got over 250 games. Like, not all those employees are developers. Probably not even 100 are." And you're like, and they just want more. Everyone just wants time and time and time. But hopefully, with ZK EVM and the docs maturing, that there'll be less and less time needed for technical support. But yeah, good shout out. A lot of our Immutable employees listen to this pod, so if, try and solve this. Here it is again, guys. Yeah. So.
Hey, shout out to Garrett. Garrett's been an absolute gem. I'll put that in there for him.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that's so you understand how much, manpower takes. How big is your team with WITS, and how's the game development coming along in your opinion?
I'm not going to ramble on this too long, but I do love this question because the immediate thought is that behind every game, there's a massive studio and tons of money, which is, it doesn't have to be true. Like Palworld, that thing that blew up recently, they had the small indie studio. They obviously had a lot of money. I'm not saying like that, but our team size is actually only me, the co-founder, one of our close friends who's an advisor, and he also works with Magic Eden. He kind of just helps us out here and there. And then we have a UI designer, 3 artists, and a lead game developer who's from Ubisoft and Warner Brothers Games. Him and a small group of other side developers work on the game. But yeah, we've been working on it for 2 years or so. Mm-hmm. So we've been able to do it with a small team. I've completely self-funded the entire project. So just I've paid for everything up till now. And you know what? We have a small team and we're small, but we're mighty, man. Like, I think the stuff that we've been able to prove and the stuff that we've been able to kind of deliver, a lot of games come to market and they mint out their NFTs and then they say, hey, we'll see you in, 13, 14 months. We'll see you when we're done building the game. Like, no, like that was a major thing for me is build first and then go out there and show people what you got. So, yeah.
Nice. Great answer.
I couldn't agree more on like I'm a software developer as well, and my first job ever, I actually transferred from recruitment into development recently, the last 5 years, and we had a team of 9 developers, and we were so bad. And then the same company, same team, same manager, he hired a couple of people, 1 designer, 1 DevOps guy, and 6 of the developers left, and it left us with just 5 total staff members and only 2 developers. And I was half a developer, so 2.5. So I did like Scrum mastering, all that kind of stuff as well, and did everything. We went from cutting, a couple of lines of code a day to 5 or 6 massive commits, and pumping out so much content, releasing every day, 2 times a day because of how much content we're making with just the 5. And I've got that experience of seeing 2 teams. If you were told which team would you prefer to have on paper, everyone's going to go the 9 devs for sure. But we got, like, I'm not joking, 10 times as much code written once we got that team like really gelled and playing well together and working well together. And it just and it's opened my eyes to exactly what you've said, not to judge that and just to go, you know what, you don't know who these people are and how good they can code and how good they work as a team. And if they're like driven and got the right structure in place, they could be pumping out way more than a team of 50. So
yeah, exactly. You nailed it.
Yeah. This has been absolutely amazing. Was not expecting all this, to be honest with you, but we're gonna jump into a little bit of fun. We do this with everybody, so I hope you're up for some fun. What we do here is we ask 10 questions. If you don't know, just pass, but try to keep it at 1 word. We try to make this quick and fun and fast, and if you're ready to do it, we'll start it.
Let's hop into it, dude. I'm ready.
Okay. Do you prefer to watch sports or esports?
Sports.
Okay. What's your favorite sport to play?
Football. I played NCAA Division II football, so I'm a big football guy.
Like pigskin football or soccer?
Pigskin, American football.
Okay. All right. Okay.
What position?
What position?
I played linebacker, and then in my last year, I was a running back. Lots of fun.
Wow. You just like the punishment, huh?
So you're quick. You can run from 0 to 100 pretty quick.
That's the most brutal position in sports for football. Those 2.
Hey, not anymore. I'm not quick anymore. But yeah, I was. I did enjoy it.
Awesome.
Did enjoy it.
Okay. So Messi or Ronaldo?
Ooh, Messi. Argentinian, baby.
Nice. And do you prefer Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, or PC?
Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC. PC.
Okay.
PC must race.
It's it's a popular answer. It's a popular answer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Real gamers own PCs.
Yeah. I agree.
Books or movies?
Movies.
And what is your favorite movie?
Oh, this is the question of all questions. This always stumps everybody.
It's either it could either be all time or right now. It's up to you. You just pick one. Oh, we got him on this one.
Oh.
The top one that's coming to my mind is Waterboy by with Adam Sandler.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I made a parody about that recently with that one with
Yeah.
Paul Barron, our favorite guest here.
It's coming to mind right now, so I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna lock it in.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like it. Okay. Ferrari or Lamborghini?
Ferrari.
Yeah, okay. And what's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Favorite ice cream flavor? Probably coconut.
Oh, wow.
Coconut. And that's a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a gelato, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is our most probably famous question, our most fun, our most infamous. Give us one word to describe Elon Musk.
Fridge.
A bridge?
Breach?
I said fridge.
Free?
Like a refrigerator?
Like a refrigerator.
Wow.
Okay.
That's new.
That boy is built like a refrigerator.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He is, isn't he?
That was an interesting one. We haven't gotten anything like that before.
That's a Dodge controversy answer. For sure.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That was actually well played.
He's probably listened to our pod before and seen how I react when people are negative towards him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Winding it down to the last question here. Video game that popped your cherry.
What was it? Like the first video game? I gotta go way back for this.
It doesn't have to be the first. It could be the one that really, set the tone for you or
one
something like that. You know?
The one that gave you that mind.
Oh, dude. I can think of 3 right now.
Nah, there's only one first.
Okay, any one first. The one that did it for me was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Oh,
Awesome.
okay. Awesome. That was fun.
That's the one that really brought me in. I was gonna say Monster Ranchers, like way back. Monster Ranchers, like the first one. But then there was also like League of Legends. Most of them for their toxicity. But anyways, I'm not gonna go into that.
Are you a League of Loser player? Oh, okay. Americans are the acronym's LOL. Like,
Yeah.
that should tell you enough about that game.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
come on, he didn't go didn't give me the chance to argue over Elon Musk answer. So he gave me the LOL thing was I had to have a dig somewhere, Nicky mate. So
There you go. You're good. You're good.
So we're going to wrap up soon, but just wanted to I don't think we touched on it in the meeting, but you've kind of indicated that you're releasing really soon the game to play. Is that correct? Do you want to give some kind of rundown on that?
Yeah, the game will be released like the alpha version. I want to say the alpha version of the game will be released in Q1 this year. So like we will have people playing the game, play testing, playing in tournaments, all sorts of stuff like that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Quarter? So
Soon.
March the 30th? Or when do you...
Latest. That's the latest. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We already have the prototype done. We're just basically like adding things in at this point, changing the UI and UX up, and that's about it.
All the
Awesome.
animations done for the cards and attacks and things?
To be honest with you, I think the animations are something that are like a nice to have. They're definitely like visual cues and stuff like that, and animations are really cool, but most important is balance and fun gameplay first, and then you can add in all the kind of nice to haves, the bells and whistles. But fun gameplay, the actual game being finished, and then UI UX so it looks nice, and then you add the bells and whistles.
Okay, cool.
Very cool. Where can we find you at before we let you go today?
Well, you can find our game at www.wits.academy. That's where it will be.
And the X account for what is the Sorcery is at WITS_TCG.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Anything you wanted to we might have missed, or you wanted to add before we finish up here and let you head off to your to your day? I think you're going to a meeting soon, I believe. So.
Yeah. No. Honestly, you guys have been amazing hosts. I think you guys knocked it out of the park today. I had a really, really good time on the pod. We'll definitely be sharing it all around and telling other founders about you guys. So, thank you and very, very well done.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Appreciate that. You have a great day, and we look forward to playing your game. I'm definitely going to play it now. I want to smash Gary Gensler.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad, guys.
All right. Take care.
All right, mate.
Bye.
Okay.
Peace. Later, guys.
All right, that was WITS. What is this sorcery? I love the clever play on words with the name. What an interview. What a gem of a guy. I was not expecting all this in that interview, Rubik. Man, what's going through your head right now?
Yeah, I was like, to be honest with you, at TCG, there's Gods Unchained that I play, and I don't know. That's the first real TCG I played any serious amounts of time. More of like a bit more strategy side rather than the 1v1. Like a real time strategy with three people on a map or 4 people on a map. Like that kind of thing, or shard bound with a added hex based kind of complexity to it. Looking forward to that. And so I went into it not expecting personally to be interested, too much in the game, but. Wow, the guy Nicky seems to have his head switched on, has a cool story, and the story is what would get me in. And I think really like a really unique story that he's switched on because you can see that it can appeal to people outside because he doesn't name like the story's got a substitute, like a metaphor sort of thing. But so if you're not a crypto person, you could enjoy the story. But if you are, you could associate it with the right people and really get enjoy the story even more. So yeah, I really like the story of the game, and now I definitely want to play it for sure.
Yeah, the humor always goes a long way in almost everything, and they're tying in some little quips and little kind of dad joke-ish, not quite, maybe a little bit more advanced to that, but. He had me cracking up laughing because it was putting the pieces together. And when I seen the name, I was like, this is from a meme. I'm almost positive. And he confirmed, yeah, it was kind of meme-ish, but, kind of some other things of, regarding crypto. And, another trading card game. I was, at first my expectations were a little low because we've talked about this before is there's seems to be a lot of trading card games, and how are you going to differentiate yourself? But they have a few things going with the staking system, and like you said, the lore base that they're building off of. Yeah, this has got a different feel to it, and it's got my interest peaked for sure now.
Actually, the thing what I'm really impressed about is anyone can play with any card, and you earn more if you own the card, and Gods Unchained come out with what's it called? That mode, sealed mode, where it's similar. Like before, sealed mode that came out a couple of months ago, you could only play the card you owned, or even if they were NFTs or not NFTs. So you had to keep on buying packs or go on the marketplace and buy the card you wanted to be able to play. So sealed mode opened that up, but it's actually more advanced because it's all cards available. You probably have to be better at the game to do well at it, and it costs money. So, this here is actually really smart because it's giving everyone Web 2, Web 3 access to all cards. And if you are a Web 3 person, you can collect and earn more by if you play the card that you own, you earn more percentage of the profits and of the the thing. And I thought sealed mode should have done that. Sealed mode, if you get a random 10 cards to pick from, if you own those cards, you earn more of the prize pool than some that doesn't. But I actually said it, I think in a pod in the past or somewhere, and so surprised Gods didn't do that. But yeah, also on top of that, impressed by Immutable again. The lacking of support for certain games, some people that are not as high partnered. But I did address that, but I also didn't mention that there are a few job vacancies recently for a head of technical support. There's a job right now for a level 2 developer technical support head as well. So they look like they need more revenue to go into these real excess and not direct revenue kind of generating positions, but they are retention relating positions. So looks like they are trying to address that issue by increasing the support team to help developers.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse for Immutable, and I think they're just being really savvy about the whole situation right now. They're creating a platform, kind of like what Nick was saying. If you build it, they will come, and they got a lot of people coming. We'll talk about it later in our podcast here. The amount of numbers that I heard from Robbie on Between Two Layers, but to get back to WITS, with Immutable, I think they're open up the floodgates so they can basically cherry pick which games are going to be the upper echelon to help push them. And if you're not a top game, unfortunately, it sucks, but it's just the nature of the business right now. It's survival mode. They're still figuring things out. They gotta keep the treasury stocked, and then I think down the road, when this gets hammered out more, they'll be able to take in more and support more as the business grows. And it's an unfortunate circumstance, but it's reality and you have to deal with it. I do want to circle back to the staking with WITS. I've seen this done before in another game. I'm not going to mention it because personal reasons, but this has been done before. I've seen this style that they're doing, and it will prop up their NFT value. I guarantee it. In this other game, they had a very, very similar thing where you would stake your NFTs and you could send them out on missions to gather things. And it created value in those NFTs because if they were staked, you could not have them on the marketplace. So very slick strategy, and I like it.
Yeah. Overall, WITS, he's made me want to play this game for this meeting. So I wonder if other people listening who actually listened to the whole interview feel the same way. That maybe they'll give it a look at, because it just seems like a very smart guy that's got his shit together and can bring, is building a real synergistic kind of ecosystem, the fun game, and and the fun game. It can be propped up by these outside line things like the crafting, like the staking, like the story. And so it seems like it should bring it all together. I'm really looking forward to it now. And also, one final thing, this is the alpha. He didn't say it in the interview, but I've had chats with him before, and they're looking to launch with ZK EVM within a day of ZK EVM going live. So
nice. And
has given the date of the 31st of January or the 1st of February. So that makes ZK EVM from the day of this recording, 5 days away.
That's crazy too, considering, and this isn't a knock on them, they're not that big, so I liked his, I really liked his, what's that game? I should know it, Palworld or whatever. That quick comparison he gave when I asked him about the size of his team and stuff like that, man, he was on the ball with that. That was a great comparison, and loved the interview. I'm definitely interested in this game now, especially with the Gary Gensler thing. It cracked me up, and it's on my radar. So hats off to you, founder CEO Nick. And what is this sorcery? Hello, gamers to the galaxy. That is Gamers Galaxy. I am your host, WT, and today we're going to be talking with Looperlands, a vibrant, ever-expanding MMO, creator-owned pixel-verse built on multiple chains, and recently announced that they're going to be on Immutable. But before we get to talking to them, I'm going to bring up my amigo, Rubik. How we doing, my friend?
I'm all good, mate. It's Saturday morning here, and it's a beautiful day in the middle of summer while you're freezing up there in the middle of the snow. I'm thinking of you, mate.
Yes, it's been a week of -10 here. My work life has been nuts. It's really slowed me down on production this week. But that is irrelevant. We want to talk to Looperlands today. And joining me, he goes by Smileyphase, but I'm going to call him Smiley today. Smiley, how you doing today?
I am doing absolutely super, and I'm thrilled to be talking to both of you today.
Awesome. We're glad to have you here on Gamers Galaxy, and we're gonna dive right into this. There's a lot to talk about. Can you, give us a little summary about yourself in the Web3 space and a summary of Looperlands?
Sure thing. So I broke into the Web3 space, I'm going to say about 2021, 2022, thereabouts. I came with all the GameStop folks. So my experience with crypto was basically adverse because it just seemed complicated and, I was kind of like worried about some of the FUD and so on and so forth. When GameStop introduced themselves and said that we're going to go into this, I gave it a deeper look. And I realized exactly what it was for and what it could do, and the promise that they were offering, power to the players in like all reality. And so I was absolutely on board. And then I waited for something, and like there was nothing that was coming out. And at a certain point, I realized that I kind of knew how to do this. So I partnered up with a guy named Kofit, who does the loopworms, and you can see my PFP is Shai Hulud loopworm. And so we built the loopworm site. We had a whole bunch of small Web3 games. We had Build a Worm, which is up for an L2 award this year. We had a virtual Web3 pet game, which was it's completely sold out off LoopX and did fantastic. We had a whole bunch of people who are raising and battling their virtual pets. And from that point, I was able to connect over to my other partners, Pizza, who hopefully will be joining us soon, and Bulks Hamster, who is our lead developer now, and architect as well. And so they saw, they connected to my vision in terms of creating a trustless Web3 architecture in order to be able to let people play with assets, to take existing art that people had and turn them into game assets and so on and so forth. And so that's where we moved into the next phase, which is Looperlands, which is something that I was always kind of working towards creating, not as it is now, but kind of like creating this sort of metaverse, pixel-based metaverse space that was open to other creators to add their assets. I love the concept of user-generated content. Artistically, I'm not overly talented, but I am really good at prototyping and mashing together technologies and doing really cool stuff with it. My background is actually so good.
So you're saying that in Looperlands, people can bring their own assets into your game. So
yep.
Okay.
Anyone can become a creator.
Yeah. Okay. And do you want to go into how that works and
absolutely.
Give examples of what games?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, for our creators, we've got Ordinary Atom, we've got Gunclops, we've got Parable, we've got Kabonbon, we've got a variety of Stupid Fred. It's like right now the names are escaping me, but we've got like well over 100 different L2 creators from Yaboy Nancy, like people you would recognize in game. And so what we do is we give them the ability to add game assets with zero code. They'll provide us the details. We have self-provisioning tools. We have creator tools so that they can create their own sprite sheets that do their characters, and they can play with it and interact with it before they put it in the game. We've got tools that allow them to just basically put that sprite sheet into the game and bind it up with the NFT. And so we'll track that NFT asset on the blockchain, so wherever it goes, whatever wallet it's in, we know which wallet it's in and what asset it matches up to in the game. So when someone who has that wallet connects to the game, we can instantiate that asset in its proper form.
Okay, I've got a question for you then. So you can bring in your own assets into the game from any other game. It's not from Looperlands, is that what you're saying?
So the general rule, I mean, from a technical perspective, there's literally nothing that prevents you from connecting any NFT on a network that we work with, whether it's Loopring, Layer 1, IMX, and other chains that we're looking to add as well. And as long as the wallet address matches, you can actually mix and match stuff on layers. So, for example, my MetaMask has a Layer 1 address and has a Layer 2 Loopring address, which is the same. So a Layer 1 asset sitting on that wallet can also use, any Layer 2 weapons that I have with that same address, stuff like that. It's a way of connecting people to assets on multiple layers and introduce people to hopefully to some Layer 2 IMX, Loopring, and all the other layer assets that we love. And so the idea is anyone can add their assets to this, but in order to do that, they have to onboard with us. So we actually have a contract that people have to sign. We need real names and so on and so forth because, there's accountability that comes with this because there's intellectual property that's involved. We will only allow people to use intellectual property that they have the license to use, whether it's theirs or they have written consent of the IP owner and creator and so on and so forth. At which point, then, if it's a 1-1 asset, it could be added as a game asset. We charge a one-time fee for that, at which point, it's up to the person who holds that asset to choose what to do with it. If they're going to sell it on a marketplace, auction it, play with it, whatever they want to do. User-generated content for the win.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds good. And I believe you're in Canada, is that right?
I am. I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Okay.
Cold.
So, you've said you've integrated IMX. Any GOG assets in the game at the moment that Guild of Guardians assets in the game that you know of?
So we are in the process of integrating with IMX. We've got our IMX chain core, which is just up and running. And in fact, the first IMX asset that I have is a Guild of Guardians asset. It's a really cool, I think it's a rare, it looks like sort of like orcish with like green ears that are pointy. It's really cool. And
is that a car cook? A car cook?
Yes, that's the one. That's it. That's exactly.
Wow, you got a legendary? You got a legendary? Wow.
I don't think it's a legendary. It just says rare on it.
No, it's got to be.
No, it's a legendary. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, and I feel sad about this. This asset's sitting in my MetaMask.
Yeah.
Which means it's not going to be connecting to my mobile game of Guardians because I'm using IMX Passport for that. However, I am using my IMX. I apologize, my IMX on my MetaMask, like as I said, for other things. So this is going to actually when we're finished with the process of getting our blockchain core set up. This is going to be the first Looperlands asset that we have enabled in the game. It's just for test purposes. But, it'll be a looper. And so that'll be an IMX asset that hopefully I'll be able to mix and match with assets on, sitting on my wallet from other chains.
Sounds like you got Rowan. Rowan, I think, is who you got. He's got a green ear.
You've got more, the first use of Guild of Guardians, first utility of Guild of Guardians heroes before
Outside
even Guild of Guardians.
Yeah,
even before then, you can't use them yet.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. I do want to emphasize this is without consent. I'm just doing this for test internal purposes, but if that's something that Guild of Guardians was ever interested in doing in a formal capacity, we would be more than thrilled.
I'm pretty certain that they're not going to worry about you putting their asset into their game. They're all about interoperability, so they'll be actually happy about that. I'm fairly certain of. So
yeah.
Oh, that's super exciting to hear.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. I'm gonna have to pass that along to them and just, who knows? Maybe they'll make something out of it. You never know. But that's so much going on there. I'm gonna need a TDLR or TLDR of it. Whew.
Yeah.
But so I got a chance to play the game a little bit last night. I was just doing the bare basics. I was running around killing things. I seen there was quests. I know there's a lot more to this. It's an MMO, ever expanding multiverse that you got going on. Can you give us the core gameplay loop here of Looperlands?
Absolutely. So first of all, this is a unique game because this is sitting in a very cool place for user-generated content. The game itself is open source. It's on GitHub, so like anyone can take a look and see the game code is fair. And if they want to roll up their sleeves and pitch in and help debug, they're more than welcome to do so. We got about 15 developers in the community and growing who have been working on this. And so basically the game itself is a co-op player versus environment or solo player versus environment. It's free to play, so anyone who has an ETH wallet with Wallet Connect can just go to looperlands.io, connect, sign, play. We are trustless. We use sign on with Ethereum, sign in with Ethereum. I'm sorry. And so the idea is when you get into the game, you instantiate in what's called Looperland main, what we call our main town. There's a bunch of NPCs around. You can go south into the beach area to fight some monsters. You can go north to the northern area to get more and more dangerous territory. We have, group events. So we have like raids. So last night, around 8 p.m. Eastern, we had a big raid that ran from 8 p.m. to about 11, 12, with a whole bunch of people in game, just going against a bunch of different bosses together, just having fun. So that's kind of in the main area. So we also have, as far as user-generated content, whole worlds. So one of the worlds that we have was created by Ordinary Adam. He's called Everloop Chronicles. And so you can go through a portal next to his NPC in the main town, and all of a sudden that's where there's tons of quests and adventure. This is a story-driven mode for his world, right? So creators are going to be able to define what their worlds are going to be like. In Ordinary Adam's case, he wanted Luporia, his Everloop Chronicles, to have an epic storyline for you to go across continents and have adventures and beat bosses and do quests and find objects. And, it's a really beautiful story mode with really, really good lore driven through the text and interactions with NPCs. And so, that's one way of going about it. You can work your way to find King RC, the missing King RC, and eventually defeat the Night King, and so on and so forth. That's one world, and he's expanding it. He's got a whole bunch of different expansions planned out over the next few months, and he's been very productive about rolling these things in. He's added a new world called Ever Peak City, which has all sorts of really cool features, some little quests, a lot of housing. But what's really cool is it has one of our Colosseums. So as I said, we do PvE, a player versus environment. We also do player versus player in designated areas. So we have PvP caves, or we have a fight club, which looks like a boxing ring that we'll open up. Exactly. We'll have loopers go in, and they'll fight to the death in these places. And we have stats so that it's, basically we'll track kill, death, and that sort of thing.
I gotta ask.
Down to wallets.
I gotta cut you off here. That was a ton of content, but so you have a content creator that can make, let's say, X scenario, some big boss, and you guys can put out basically a global message of like, hey, meet here. We're gonna have a global fight against this thing.
Yep. And
That's
can
awesome.
I tell you the coolest thing?
I love it.
These bosses are supplied by the community. They're supplied by creators. The current boss that we have right now is from our Christmas event, which is a Krampa. This one's like a really big mutant Santa creature. I know, right? So that's one of the bosses. Before we had, physical utility provided a boss. And so the community will bring a boss in, and, it's just a sprite sheet and whatever lore they want to throw in. And there's red packets available, so people will get prizes from that.
Cool.
We had some Cyber Crew stuff that were actually turned into in-game assets as companions. Companions are AI bots, and they just kind of follow along and fight with your player, and they're really cool things. And so, like I said, these maps are decided by the player. So that's Ordinary Adam's world. Cobman, I don't know if you're familiar with Cobman, but he built Maze and a whole bunch of other tools sitting on Loopring. He's just an absolutely phenomenal pillar of the community. He happened to he loves this stuff. So he hopped in and built a world called Cobb's Farm, which is token gated. So we leave this up to creators, whether, how they want their worlds to be accessible. So a token gated world would be accessible to a looper in his collection. So you need to have a Cobb's Farm asset, like a fishing rod or one of his characters or weapons from the marketplace. And if you have that in your wallet, you can walk through his portal and enter his entire world. His entire world has a whole series of like very innovative bosses. He's got like a Pac-Man theme level where you're chased by ghosts while you're trying to get power-ups. It's hilarious. He's the guy who put out fishing. This is actually really cool. I'll tell you about this on both the creator side and then on the player side. Let me actually start with the player side. So the player side is you get a mini rod, like a fishing rod, and we've got any creator can make these assets. And when you equip it, if you go to like a lake, you can fish. So what it does is you basically cast your rod, and then it comes up with like after a period of time a slider bar, which you got to kind of pin the right spot to catch that fish. Fishing rods, they have different, unique traits that it could be associated with them. Whether they're, it's like what's called upper hand, where when it procs, the catchment area gets easier. Lucky, where you get a chance of getting a rare fish. Double, where you basically catch twice as many fish and get twice as much experience for it. And certain fish, if you catch the rare ones or the epic fish, they become consumables that you have in your inventory. So, when you click on it, boom, we got a health bonus or 4% bonus, boosted experience points I get for the next 10 minutes, stuff like that. And so, like Cobb's Farms has a whole bunch of that. And then Quest, it's not really driven so much by story as kind of like just a kind of fun place to play around with and, chill and see what he's doing, and he likes creating these innovations. So there's constant novelty that he's pushing out all the time. So that's his world. We've got another world that was released by MCB called Duckville, which, despite the fact that his characters look like ducks, this world looks more like Doom. Like the hell is. But what he's done is he's created the perfect grinding level. So if you want to get your character leveled up, man, you just do the circuit with that, and you're just killing beasts. And you go around with your friends. His boss is like a massive level 30 boss. It's like beating everyone. We've got community supplied bosses like our Mega Mag that has like a big lava attack and just expands pools of lava trying to get your characters defeated. We've got a giant hentai tentacle beast in the south. It's a beautiful world.
Oh my god. This is like a fire hose. This is like a fire hose of information, and I feel like a complete idiot right now. I went into the game last night, and I'm walking around like whacking rats and thinking, oh, okay, I'm doing it. I'm completely oblivious to everything that is going on around me, apparently. Rubik, what's your thoughts on all of this?
So I'm getting the feeling that this is a real creator-driven environment. Like even the environments are creator-driven as well, or is it just the bosses in the environments? Do they create the land? So how do you get access to that? Do you have to buy land?
So I'll go from the start of this part of the experience then. So first, the Looperlands is built off Browser Quest, which was an open source game that was released by Mozilla to showcase HTML5, basically. We took it and modernized it and added like a bunch of features and all the creator tools. So the main world for Looperlands inherits very much from Browser Quest. So if you've ever seen that game, there's going to be lots of areas that are, most of the areas that are looking familiar. Over time, it's gradually just being replaced and completely unique. But all the creator worlds, like Cobb's Farm, Luporia from Ordinary Atom, or MCB's Duckville. We've got a dozen other worlds that are being developed right now by other creators. These are just the ones that are in production. Every single world is unique. They're all with their own art style or whatever they've snagged off itch.io that they're allowed to license for an NFT game and then adapt for their world and so on and so forth. So the idea is like every single world is unique. All the characters in the game are unique. It's just such a magical thing when you just see an army of loopers tearing across the screen. We're powerful together is a lot of fun. This is a team sport, really. And it's largely driven by user-generated content. I love the concept of Minecraft and Roblox very, very much.
How do you bring balance into the leveling system, or is that not important in this?
Are you kidding? Design? It's critical.
Yeah,
it's very important.
Yeah, how do you do that when people are creating their own content? How do you make it so people don't hit one rat and go to level 30 sort of thing in their land? Is there some kind of rules-based system or some kind of a gate before it can go live, or like a kind of pass over it?
Well, first we've got some basic standards that we set for maps, and so on and so forth, like experience bonuses and stuff like that. They're scaled proportional to what you're encountering, but a large chunk of this is conventions that we're sort of setting that creators are agreeing to. With if your map doesn't meet these standards, we got to take it down. Sort of thing, until you can bring it back up to the standards. And everyone's been fairly good about being compliant by that so far. But obviously, we're working on adding more back-end components to keep this balance in. But everyone, when someone has an NFT, they're going, "Oh my God, this is like an alpha premium NFT. This needs to be the most special NFT in the game, right?" Every looper, our approach is basically these are going to be skins, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to set this out in an equitable fashion. So anything that this character has is because of the effort that you personally have put into it. So you put the grinding time in, you've leveled your character, you brought him up, so he has got more hit points and more damage and so on and so forth. Weapons, special items, same deal. The difference is weapons and special items are being given special traits, so they have a unique property associated with them that could proc. So some might be, the speed, so they're faster attacks, or some might be area of effect, so they when they proc, they damage a bunch of monsters in the area. Some might be crit damage, so when it procs, wow, that's a killer hit, that sort of thing, and that sort of creates a little bit of the balance that way.
Okay, interesting. How long have you been building the game for? Like, is it since you found out after you said you joined the
So I kind of started I started the Web3 space. I'm going to say 2022, I think, is when I started really, in April in earnest. That's when I partnered up with Kofit. By the end of 2022, I had my, I guess, second or third Web3 game under my belt. My first one was, the Google T-Rex game where you jump over things.
There's billions of games, mate. Sorry,
I'm not familiar with it. Not familiar. I know what a T-Rex is, though.
No. The reason why I say that is it's the idle thing if you have no internet connection on Chrome, or at least it was. So it became very ubiquitous. It was open source. Pete's responding, so hopefully he'll join us. So it was open source, so we took that open source game and we basically, added assets to it. So like you were jumping worms or you're jumping your whatever character. I use this as a way for, first to learn how to put this technology together properly and build a platform. And then second, to show creators, look how you can actually turn your NFT assets into game assets. It taught me how to teach the creators, basically. And then build up a connection and a network of creators who are super interested in making game assets, which allowed us to get better adoption.
Interesting.
Pete just told me he was stuck. He was getting his wife unstuck out of ice, and he slipped out of this meeting, but not on the ice. So we're going to go. All is forgiven.
It's all good.
It's all good.
I'll let him know to join when he can.
Yeah, no worries. So you've built 3 games in the Web3 before 2 years is even up? Is that what you're saying?
So for the first, these are very minor games. I took open source code and I crypto enabled them. I built the platform first because my background is systems integration and telecommunications. So I'm really like by nature, I would take 2 different pieces of technology and mash them together and make them talk and do things. And so when I saw the blockchain and I saw games, I said, okay, I know how to mash this stuff together to make this stuff do exactly what I want in the architecture I want without getting overly complicated and dealing with huge smart contract nonsense. Because that to me seemed excessive and unnecessary for what I was trying to do. And so that's how I was able to build the platform and then prototype a couple of games. I had like a bingo game. So it was a simple collection game. So it would throw up a card, and if you had all the assets, it gave you like a row. And you win a prize that we had you in a report. I had what we called Worm Runner, which is just basically you jump over obstacles and you duck under things, sort of thing. It's like a simple 2D scroller. And then I put out Build-A-Worm, which we're up for an award for with Loop Exchange, which was my first true cross-collaboration sort of metaverse concept, where you know what a paper doll character is, where you basically put clothing on a paper doll sort of thing?
No,
Are you
I
familiar
don't.
with those as little kids?
I don't
Okay,
play
so-
with dolls.
All right.
You know, one thing I'm learning from this. One thing I'm learning from this interview is that like the world is so diverse in people's interests and things, and this has been really unique talking to you. To be honest with you, you know, a lot of it feels the same, and but people come in the same route, you know, and had the similar story. But yours, it's different in the fact that you've just seemed to have like got this bug on what smart contracts can do based on your knowledge of programming, and just started creating stuff and you've ended up with this really unique game that I think the only thing I could really compare it to is Treeverse, which is also a GameStop game where they bring in assets to the game, but it's not creator enabled. It's if you own an asset, you can bring it into their game potentially, and where yours is.
Exactly. So they gave, and that's something that hurt me, because when they came out to the market, I was going, yes, this is what I'm not a huge fan of that type of game. I'm not, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be a great game. Just like not everyone's going to be into pixel games, right? Yeah. It takes all kinds, and there's so many different niches and markets and so on and so forth. So I respected the hell of what I was seeing. The thing is, they weren't open to the people. Like they weren't like Loop Exchanges. Loop Exchange is open to anyone. If you got like a wallet and you want to sell something, fantastic. Good luck to you. And so I love that concept of democratizing Web3 gaming space, right? So, you know, power to the players, great. Power to the creators, fantastic. I wanted to give players the avenue to become creators, because the kind of games I love playing, I'm a tinkerer by nature. I know a lot of people are people who dig, you know, who are into mods, who like messing with their games, making their games do different things. You know, people who like, you know, customizing their avatars to the point where it looks exactly the way they want it to, right? I love that. And that endless customization, and so I really wanted to connect with people on that basis, and that's how we created, like I said, Build-A-Worm, and that led us into the next stage, which is I guess our Web3 pets, which is our virtual pet, and from there, Looperlands, where we went full MMO.
You seem like you got a lot of technical capability in your team, and you got a lot of good vision and a really unique offering to players that want to, especially creator types, people that like to create things like Minecraft type players, you know, that with that mindset. Like personally, I like to be fed my content. You know, I'm a creative drone, so like I would be the kind of person that would like Looperland as well, because I can appreciate other people's creations, even though I don't personally want to do it. So I think if we've got a really unique game, like there's nothing I've heard of like this in the space. Do you feel that there's anyone in the space that's similar to you guys?
In terms of like a pixel verse, yeah, there's a whole bunch. In terms of user generated content, or you know, creator driven content driving our market, not as much, or not really. Like we kind of sit in a fairly unique place. And it's really important for us to be a very creator focused, and you know, creators are our primary customers, so making creators happy is important, making their players happy is important to the creators, so it's extraordinarily happy to us on so many levels. So you know, that's why we charge once for the asset. Creators don't have any royalty issues with us whatsoever. Game asset is in game until sunset. Knock yourself out, one-time feed, and you know, Bob's your uncle.
Awesome, man! You've just really come through and just laid a ton of information today. I really appreciate it, and we're gonna shift hard into our final segment of the day, the fun segment, 10 questions from Gamers Galaxie. Ruben's gonna be asking you those. It's just he asks you a question, you give your best one-word response, and we move on to the next and have a good time doing it. Are you ready to jump into this?
Let's do it.
All right, take it away, Rubik.
I didn't know I was doing that. Give me a second.
Oh.
Here we go. Okay. I got it. Let's go. Do you prefer to watch sports or esports and streamers?
Esports.
prefer to play sports or video games?
Video games.
So what's your favorite video game then?
Aside from Looperlands, believe it or not,
Right now.
One word. Galaxie of Heroes. It's a couple of them, but that's the name.
All right,
The Star Wars
cool.
game.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, or PC? If you can only have one.
Oh my god! Let's get PC. It's gonna have to be PC because I can do that everything on a PC.
Yep. Would you prefer to read books or watch movies?
Both.
Okay, both.
So
What's
there's
your
a book with the movie in the background. You do both.
Okay, so what's your favorite book and favorite movie then right now?
Oh, Dune for both.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Can you not see my PSP?
Not at the moment. What's your preference, Ferrari or Lamborghini?
Lambos.
When Lambo, okay.
Exactly. If only because I can see now Lambo. That's it.
I like that.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Boring vanilla.
That's not wrong
Really?
with that. I like that.
I don't mind. I don't mind a bit of vanilla.
Yeah. I respect that.
Bit of chocolate sprinkled on it every now and again as well. Yeah.
See, that's exciting. No, boring vanilla.
Oh wow. Okay. No, I can still just go.
Some people say French vanilla. I'm going with boring vanilla. Thank you.
All right. One word to describe Elon Musk.
Dunning-Kruger. It's hyphenated.
That's a new one. That's a new one.
Last one? This is my favorite question actually, because my experience with this is awesome, and what got me into gaming from a very young age. So, what video game popped your cherry?
Pong.
Wow. Wow.
That's the old school Atari one, isn't it?
Yeah, man, I'm old. I'm in my 40s.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I remember the
come
game.
on.
I remember the game.
Yeah. No, I played them all. Pac-Man from in the actual arcades, the original Star Wars game that you play with the lines on the screen and with the control thing, where you were flying the X-wing. It was great.
Nice.
No, it's
Old school, absolutely, and that's why I love pixel games. There's a nostalgia element to it, but the best part about pixel games is the game itself. It's got the focus, the simplicity of the game, or the intricacy of the gameplay. It really gets the focus on the experience, and it's not about the flash. That's why people will still have quarters for their old Pac-Man game, their old Tetris game. That's Super Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fighting game that they see in the airport lounge, wherever it is. They'll pump quarters in these games. They still keep coming back because they're still fun.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on Gamers Galaxie today. I have to go back. I feel like a complete idiot. I was running around, whacking rats, some crab here and there, and there's this massive, massive game going on around me, and I didn't even realize it. So I'm going to dive back in and really try to hunker down in the Discord and find out all these cool things you got going on with Looperlands, and man, lots going on. Rubik, any final thoughts on Looperlands?
Yeah, it sounds like I'm going to play it as well. Sorry that I didn't get time to do it. 2-month-old baby left it late. I was going to, and 2-month baby took priority in the end, so I missed a chance to play.
You guys have so many games on your playlist. I cannot imagine the slate that you have. Anyways, that you're spending time talking to us, and you want to take a look at the game and play, fantastic. It gets me super excited. Hope to see you folks there. Let us know when you're in, and we'll get looking for a group, a bunch of people to come show you around. Certainly, one of the things that you mentioned is the onus is on us to improve the user experience, to improve things so that when people come in, they know what it's a lot more intuitive and more directional. And absolutely, we're going to have a much better landing page very soon, which provides a lot more guidance when people come in. We'll have a little pop up that hey, by the way, did you know you could play with your game controller, right? Stuff like that. You can may not have had. There's keyboard, hotkeys for everything, stuff like that. So we definitely need to spend a little bit more time orienting the player. My focus, though, and this is one of the reasons that we're different from other games, I guess, is our focus is getting that game out first, and then building up the flash and marketing around that after. So that's kind of where we build. We build sort of ground up.
Where can people find Looperlands at best?
Looperlands.io, Looperlands.io. Connect with any wallet, ETH wallet with Wallet Connect. There's free-to-play available. Assets are currently available on Loopring, L2 marketplaces, and OpenSea, and hopefully very soon on IMX.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Also having you. Thanks for coming on the show today, Smiley.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Take care, gentlemen. Have a great weekend.
Okay, that was Looperlands with Smileyphase, a multi-chain pixelverse where the creators determined the gameplay. I gotta say, looking at this game, when I was playing it, I was just running around whacking rats and crabs and, just kind of checking things out. And there's a lot more to this game than I thought there was. The global raids versus a monster, that one blew me away. The amount of potential for tournaments and cool little events that you could do off of that, tying that into holiday events. They just open it up to basically whatever the creators put in there is going to determine what the content is going to be like, and it can be bad, but it could be really good, and it opens up the doors for all kinds of possibilities. They got their NFTs out, and the one thing I will say is, as a new player coming there and just trying to get into it, he admitted to it, the beginning UX needs some help, because I was a little lost trucking around. And yeah, that was kind of my thoughts on what's going on with Looperlands. You got any comments on that, Rubik?
Yeah, it was a surprise to me that the way it operates, one-off fees to get your NFTs in there, and so you can have, it's kind of like the Treeverse sort of style of things, and that nifty island that's come out recently where they've got different IPs coming into the interoperability kind of. All these people, these experts on Twitter that hate NFTs say that there's no such thing as interoperability. It's impossible. We've already got it. It's already happening, and so that's another one of those games that are bringing cross IP into a world where it makes sense. It's not, it's like people create, like a Roblox style world or a Fortnite style world, where people create the map and create the event, as well as you can bring in whatever character you want to play as. So yeah, interesting game. A lot of information to consume in a very short period of time, so I'm still processing it all. But that's the general gist of what I took away from it.
Did I hear you talk about how you were able to bring in characters from other games with them? I know that piqued your interest in the conversation, and that seemed like that could open up all kinds of possibilities. But from technically, that was hard for me to understand. I mean, I understand what it means and what it would look like, but to make that happen, isn't that kind of a big deal? Yeah.
So it's you have to create the image yourself, I believe. That's what I took away from it, where you said something about sprites and stuff like that. So you have to be like an artist, I think, to be able to do it. I'm not certain. You get the NFT picture, and then you can import it in, and then you use their tool to turn it into an NFT. So there's a lot around the legalities of who allow you to do it. So that's why they partnered with Immutable to allow NFTs from the Immutable sets. And how it actually works, I probably need to look into it a little bit more.
Well, that makes sense, though, because we've seen some things from other things, specifically like Alter, where they're really pushing this cross interoperability synergy amongst all the games on the Immutable platform. So I'm not surprised, and they kind of fit that niche or not niche, but that style that Immutable is going for. And very, very interesting game. Like you said, a lot of information coming from Smileyphase, and Yeah, I need to circle back to this game. I actually messaged him earlier today and said, I need to circle back, and I'm going to hit him up when I do, see if I can get some help catching up to speed, because my time constraints, I can't spend a whole lot of time here, but I want to. I want to learn more about this. They got a cool lava monster in there that it just looks awesome, and I want to go through one of their raids where the whole world like meets up somewhere at a certain time to fight an event. That piqued my interest big time.
Well, don't get too hooked on those. That was the thing that in gaming that hooked me for years, when you get that kind of teamwork based conquering, the feeling you get from, it was EverQuest, 72 people in the one zone attacking a monster and spending 2 months trying to kill it and failing, and then finally beating it. That's their drug, mate. Be careful.
Yeah, I kind of remember that from the Warcraft days. If you remember Onyxia. You remember Onyxia?
No? What's that?
That was like the first major boss in Warcraft. It was a dragon you had to take out. It was pretty cool.
You mean World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Mate, I joined the PvP server because I came from EverQuest, and because I was more interested in the PvP side of things at the start and missed all the raids. So
this was back when it first launched.
Yeah, Molten Core, was it? Was that one of the Overland?
Oh, Molten Core. That
was
was after Onyxia. Like, you had to beat Onyxia and get gear there first, and then move on to Molten Core.
Back. Well, I must have done it because we had a pretty good guild.
Oh yeah.
Sure anyway, so let's move on to this week's news session. Thanks to the 2 interviews today and the 2 interviewees that are coming on. Appreciate their time. But massive week of news from Immutable. Like, what a week before, and we got ZK EVM probably next week. So,
oh man,
you think you can top it, but we're probably going to top it next week, hopefully, if our estimations are right.
Right.
What did you think about overall this week's news?
It's been absolutely just crazy. Like, we just did 2 interviews for 1 episode, and I have a feeling that might be something that happens more often, because there's so many games coming out that we're having a hard time keeping up with it, and then you factor in all the news, and later on we talk about Between Two Layers. Robbie said that this is only half of what's to come for 2024, and we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, it's just like I've used this example a whole bunch of time. It's like a bunch of sand being thrown at us, and we're trying to catch it right now. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start off with want to break down the new projects building on Immutable into 2 different categories now, because there's ones that Immutable announced themselves and then like do a whole like media piece on, and there's ones that that they respond to, but then there's also ones that announce themselves that Immutable doesn't follow up, or we don't notice Immutable follow up with a like or a comment or a retweet. So this week, so we've got a couple that we've discovered. From we call them rumors. So Faenora Series, they've announced that they're building on Immutable. What did you did a little bit of research on these ones, did you?
Yes, and I'm like mad at myself. You can't see what I'm looking at here, but I had the tweet of them actually posting that they were on Immutable. It was like an official tweet from them, not Immutable. So I'm like kicking myself. Yeah. I had this set up, and I'm looking for it. Oh, there it is. Got it. Yep, I got it right here. There's like an image, and it says basically they're on Immutable. Like we said, this is unofficial, but they're blaring it out loud and proud. This game is interesting on several layers. I'm going to talk about their team first, real quick. This is their CEO, Nathan Montgomery. The thing that really popped out with him, he's an actor and a lawyer. And the actor, whatever, that's kind of a niche, quirky thing, but the lawyer aspect, yes, I like that for knowing the ins and outs of what they can and can't do and being legally compliant. His mate here is Dr. Muhammad Ali Khan. I apologize for butchering that. He's got a doctor tag, that lots of schooling, and a builder of AI, blockchain, and quantum ventures. And then their other guy with them, Mike Johnson, all kinds of accolades for him too. The team looks small from first glance. The studio is, apologies here. I'm trying a new segment where I show things off, and I'm not the best. There it is.
This is the reason Joe Rogan has what's his name?
Producers, yes. So two.
We're not big enough yet, mate. We're not big enough yet.
2TG Entertainment is the company that they're under. It looks kind of small, which doesn't mean anything considering that it's all about quality, but it does look small. But the game itself, let's get to the game. Battlefield
games,
Faenora. Yeah, it's 2. So I did some asking around today because I just got this information today, was looking at it. I actually played the game today. It's on Steam. You can go play it. The Battle for Faenora. And I hope I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I apologize. It is a real-time strategy, like almost like you're moving around troops and you're fighting skirmishes from what I can tell. Pretty cool. Looks like it's, from what they say, it's designed after Ogre Battle and Ogre Battle Saga. I've never played the game, but then they have a second game that I believe, I'm not 100% sure if they're going to branch off of this, called Wilding Faenora, I believe is what it was.
Wildlands.
And that one looks like Final Fantasy Tactics. It's coming out soon. It's not out yet. That's the one that I really wanted to play. I love Final Fantasy Tactics, and that one looks that's right up my alley. They're saying there's going to be 30 different classes, and you can customize them with skins and weapons, and renting of assets. And this is low on the radar. I don't think a lot of people know about this one. They got very low following, and for what they're doing and what their quality of their team looks like, this could be one that we need to keep our eye on.
500 followers only, but I actually just found a response from Immutable's official account that they said welcome to the family. So they actually are, officially building on Immutable. I'm pretty comfortable to say they're officially building on Immutable if Immutable's official account responds to them.
Yeah, I am too. Even before that, I was. They came out a lot on many different layers of saying that they were going with them.
Yeah, but just, what it's like, man. There's something I want to bring up later on as well.
Okay.
But it's about why we're seeing projects announce Immutable. And so I'm very skeptical now if a project announces Immutable, because I looked at the 15 games that announced Immutable that never built on them. And that's not that many if you consider they've announced about 150. So only like 10%. So 1 in 10 are doing it for certain reasons, but we'll go into that later. Next one, I just did. This was just last night when I was just doing my last rounds of news for gathering, the research, and I found this game called Catacomb Crawlers, and they're look pretty cool. It's an ARPG, and it's they announced Immutable in 22. June of 22, so nearly 2 years ago, and 18 months ago, and it looks pretty cool game. And I've just did a little bit more researching. Looks like they're deciding between SWE and Immutable ZK EVM. So that was the last thing in their Discord mentioned about Immutable, was probably launching on Immutable ZK EVM. So it might be but sounded like the way they were wording it, they're going to go on both SWE and ZK EVM, and that they'll build on ZK EVM first. But it was a pretty cool looking little ARPG game where spinning around like Diablo's Barbarian, cleaning up thousands of mobs, so it looked pretty interesting. Probably like a well-funded indie game kind of quality.
Looking at it right now, I'm just scrolling down. It looks like they're going to incorporate VR. They did a quick meta test Quest 3 app test run. It looks like that's their game. I'm looking through their Twitter feed, and yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't expect to play a roguelike game with VR,
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. I guess I can see that as well. I don't want to go too much into them because it's not, there's no official,
right.
Like that announcement was building on Immutable was when there was only StarkX, and it may end up changing that. We'll see what happens. But they've got a lot of following, 9,000 followers, and we'll see. Let's see if they come to Immutable as well. It's just a rumor status at this moment.
Yeah. Do you you're gonna have to help me on these ones. I know it's on Immutable. I'm looking at it right now. Meta Legends. What do you know about this one?
Yeah, not a lot. They announced officially, and Immutable announced them as well. They've, the big team that have built, other games in the past and moving into Web3. They've done $100 million in revenue, and they're self-funded fully. It's AI-based experiences. I think it might be user-generated content. I believe it might be VR as well. And it's you go into different environments and experience different things, like a Roblox, like the one we just Looperlands we just interviewed. So that sounded like, but a user-generated content. Looks like it's a pretty professional team building it. It's mobile, so maybe not VR, but yeah, AI is the focus, and
not too many people are following them. I'm kind of surprised at that, especially with the Immutable tag teaming up with them or taking them on. And again, people keep wanting to throw meta into their names. I wish they would stop.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
Oh my
Meta
God.
Legend. It's just, we see it all the time. It's been overdone.
It's like there's that many games with meta and then another word after it,
Right.
that you don't know, you don't have it doesn't define it. You don't go, oh, I know what Meta Legends is now. You don't think Meta Legends and go, that's that mobile game with the with the AI in it. It's like, you know what I mean? Like there's so many metas: Meta Rush, Meta Legends, Meta Fighter, Meta. They just all blur together. They become one game. You don't identify yourself.
Right.
I cannot believe they're still doing it or not rebranding. Like I cannot believe it. Like, who's making these decisions? Aren't marketing people supposed to be smart? I don't know, man. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I agree. I'm right there. As soon as every time I see it now, I'm just like, I think of you. I'm like, oh, I can hear Rubik's voice groaning. So let's keep it going here. This next announcement was absolutely huge. I don't know particularly a lot about Cool Cats, but I know of them and how big their IP was in the space, especially back in the 2020 late 2022 madness of the NFT bull run. And they're coming to Immutable. What is a match 3 game they're doing?
Yeah, it's a match 3 game. But the big news, it's with Play Ember. So Play Ember is that John Hook developers built games from Web 2 for years and moved to Web 3, making a whole platform. And that was their platform is building on Nia, I believe. So this is is it an indicator that maybe he'd be doing more of the games? Was it how much was his input into building this on Immutable? Was he forced to do it on Immutable because of a partnership between Cool Cats and Immutable, or was he influenced to come to Immutable as well? It'd be interesting to see if he's got like 10 games. I think he's got 15 games or something like that under this Play Ember brand. They're all built on Nia blockchain. So Nia's starting to come out as a big contender for I wouldn't say for winning, but for surviving. Our thesis that there'll be consolidation of blockchains, gaming blockchains, especially where people build. Was already starting to see it with the big players winning most of the games, but I think Nia is winning enough to be one of those top 10 to survive. Over the next 2 years.
Okay, but, I'm glad you provided that information. I was a little lacking on the Play Ember side. Man, they got a lot of flowers, 132K.
Oh yeah, they've got a mint happening right now at the time of this recording.
Oh wow!
Through Exterio, that launchpad that smashes. That they've got the map. There's not been a failed mint on their platform yet, and there's been like 10.
Well, they just had one 7 hours ago. It says we minted out in big bold letters.
Play Ember did?
Yeah, it says we minted out 7 hours ago. I'm looking at it
there
right
they
now.
go. There's Exterio's record, can be unbeaten record being continuing on.
Gosh.
But yeah, Cool Cats is a big brand, big Web 2 brand, 227,000 followers on Twitter. They're on X, and I've seen a lot of people with the Cool Cats PFP as their main PFP a lot, and more in the past than recently. But yeah, it's really a degen play from Immutable. You're seeing that a bit. They've changed their logo, you know, the hashtag. They've removed Web3 gaming and Web3 and added crypto and blockchain, or crypto and one other one, but nothing to do with gaming. You can see that Immutables, like they're really starting to turn their ship towards, you know, the degen market.
Yeah.
And I think this is another, you know, like ZK Sync won Pudgy Penguins, and I think Immutable went. You know, I'm pretty sure Immutable was trying to win that project, and so they've gone. You know, we need to get Cool Cats and brought them on board. So interesting. Match 3, not me. I don't actually play those games. I'm not interested in them at all. So, but I know a lot of people do. Lots of people like Match 3 games. So.
Yep. Hey,
be interesting to see.
Yeah, we need all genres that are out there. It's
You're one of them.
I've played it. Yeah, I'm not real big into it. I played it on Bubble Bots, you know, and I enjoyed it for what it was. It's not my favorite go-to, but I'll play it here and there.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, interesting one. I think I made a comment saying this is that Immutable's going full on degen, and I got a couple of comments and likes and that from I think even Immutable account and Robbie's account. So it was definitely hitting. I hit the money there. This is their angle to say we're not just gamers. We want degens as well. You know, we're going for everything.
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, and speaking of everything, this next one, there's so many games out there, I can't keep them at all, but you know about this one. When I seen this one, 482,000 followers with the imaginary ones, I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? And then, yeah, Immutable, picking them up, another one. Rubik, break this one down for me. You know this one.
Oh, I know this one inside out. How much do you want to go into it? It was like this. The artwork that they put in was like millions and millions, because the NFTs are walking like bubble kind of character, yeah, and they literally hand designed every single frame, and I think it was 2.5 million frames for the whole set. So, and they delayed the release of this NFT collection, 10,000 I think it was, or 888, because they weren't happy with the art, and the art was the best in the industry. But already, they're a Singaporean-based organization that have huge Web 2 ties. They're a marketing agency for Nike, you name it, Hugo Boss, like you name a big brand, like a big clothing brand, they are marketers for them. So they went through huge amounts of FUD because of OK Bears. You know, I don't know if he's still around in Twitter anymore, but his name was Nathan or Nat or something like that.
Weren't they on Soul, OK Bears?
Yeah, they're on Soul.
Okay.
And their army, they were minting around the same time, and their army went to work and foughted, and it really destroyed the mint. They minted out, but the value didn't go to like a 10x like everyone thought it was going to, you know, like to the 10 ETH kind of, because OK Bears wanted that liquidity and went to work. And there was a guy called Nathan who was a head of marketing. Found out later he was the head of marketing of OK Bears, who didn't disclose that at the time, and was ripping into every single, like all day long, every day, going into the Discord, going through Twitter, and just ripping into imaginary ones. Went to work, and it worked. They minted out, and you know, I got all the people that like Disaster, who's on Twitter, who's a big Axie guy in the past. He bought it and was ripping into them. It became a phenomenon, you know, that everyone followed and started ripping on it. They went down to 0.3 ETH for a 0.03 or no 0.3 ETH when it was only $1,500 ETH. So like $300, and now they're at 1.25 ETH floor. And OK Bears are worth virtually nothing. So they're worth more than OK Bears, but OK Bears went to 10 grand and now down to $1,000, and now these are worth $2,000. You know, so at floor. So the quality pay won in the end. But the reason I'm going into this much detail is because it was the only. I don't understand PFPs. I'm like, I don't care about a picture of a cat, even, to be honest with you. I don't care about a picture of a bear or anything. I'm not a degen. But their music, their artwork, their website was absolutely AAA. You go to their website, mate. If you can bring it up, imaginaryOnes.com, you will understand what I mean. It is absolute
now.
the cream of the crop of artistry and capability around design. So they've come out with a game called there's two games. There's a Bubble Racer and Bubble Runner, both, and they're bringing out. If you hold and stake, they had all these staking rewards. They've went to work. They've got on Hugo Boss. They've got a collection on Hugo Boss. They've got imaginary rides. So you got dropped a ride. I got an airplane as well. Mm-hmm. And when I minted, we didn't get on the whitelist, but I minted at 0.8. It was a 0.3 ETH if you got on the whitelist. Oh, if you didn't, it was 0.6, and I bought it 0.8. So nearly 3 times the cheapest you could get it for, and then it went down below that nearly straight away after a couple of weeks. And then when it revealed, I got 2, one for me, one for my wife. And actually, it wasn't mine; it was my wife. We got Alpha Dragon, and I think if you bring up one of my tweets that I did responding to it, you'll see the one of one. There's 25 legendaries out of the 10,000 drop. And there's 25 one of ones that were.
You got one, didn't you?
Yeah, we got one. So super lucky. And yeah, so I'd say it's probably worth about 10 ETH now, maybe more. I wouldn't sell it for less than 100 ETH, but it's they've sold for between 6 and 20 ETH they have. So, and my wife who actually opened it, her favorite color, like I'm blue. She doesn't have a favorite color. She just loves pastel colors. And if you look at it, all the 25 one of ones, there's only one pastel color NFT in the whole entire 10,000. So we got the one. If we had the 10,000 in front of us and got to choose one, I promise you, she would have chose that one, and we got it.
Nice.
So
very nice.
It was a really cool story. And then I've stayed away because, again, it's just PFPs, but it's our one little PFP dive. We used Axie money to buy it, so we didn't go to savings and spend $3,000, $4,000 of savings to buy these things. So it was Axie money. So we kind of sort of magic internet money paid for it, and it was our little hobby. And yeah, but to me, I've said to them in the thing, can you get into Immutable a couple of times, and then I stopped. Like when we could avoid all this gas if you went on Immutable. So hopefully those seeds got into them, but they're going to build a game like an Imaginary World, a mobile game. It looks like a bit like Fall Guys. I don't know. I haven't looked into the game yet, but yeah.
I'm looking at this website right now, and like I don't know how I've never heard of this. To be honest with you, I'm pretty much in this space all over. There's a ton to absorb, but like I've never seen this before, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much bigger than I realized. And the thing I keep thinking in the back of my head. It's a Immutable landed this one, and this is gosh, you got Cool Cats, now you got this. Wow, just wow.
I'll tell you why you've never heard of it. It's because of what the FUD. It was I'm not joking, man. It was FUDded into Nelly destruction. Like it was OK Bears feeling threatened and not wanting the liquidity, shared so they can mint out, and they did, and they won. Yeah, but they haven't won in the long run, and people are going to start to know about it now. It's a blue chip in my mind. There's not a lot of owners, but there's a lot of really big whales that have bought a lot because they really believe in it and love it. Mm-hmm. But there's an app, like a health app. They've built so much stuff, man. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, there's a ton on here.
They built so much, man, and it's not just NFT collections; it's actual utility. And I know what their Imaginary World's going to be amazing. So I can't wait to see it. As a legendary owner and never going to sell owner, it's just our little present to ourselves. Unless someone comes and says, "Hey, here's 200 ETH for it," then I might consider it. But
yeah, absolutely.
But I'm not going to list it. But
that's a massive.
Sorry, went on.
No, it's fine.
Went on a little bit too long with that one.
It's fine. Yeah. It's a big deal. It really is a big deal, and we are going to keep going because we got a lot still to cover. This next one, like, I noticed, like. I'm getting used to Immutable, like partnering up with so many people, and it's just it's becoming like breathing now. It's like it just happens. So like when I see these other new partnerships, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They got more infrastructure aid, more infrastructure options, and like I'm not as divesting as much time into them because it's just what they do now. And this next one, how do you pronounce this one? Axelar Network. Yeah, they're A fully stacked interoperability, Web3 users interact with any assets or application on any blockchain with one click. Just more frictionless applications that they're adding to the Immutable ecosystem. Did you have anything that you want to add to this?
So ultimately, this is a bridge between 56 chains. Yeah. So
just 56?
Yeah. So it's like, I'm not sure, but the comment, games building on Immutable ZK EVM will be able to directly onboard users from different blockchains through Immutable Passport.
Amazing.
So what that on the Immutable Passport now, there's no indication of this at all. So it'd be interesting to see what actually that turns out to be. Like, are you going to, is a game's gonna, does that mean games are going to be able to bring their game from other chains onto Immutable through Passport, through a tool? Or is it just a token? Or I think it's a token. Bring your tokens in. Say, for example, you're on Shardbound and you want to buy an NFT that you've been waiting for. It's on special for $10 instead of $20, and you're like, crap, I've got to buy it now, but I've got no funds. I don't have a credit card, but I've got this 20 Sol on this chain.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to buy. You'll be able to hit a button to bring how much you want and turn it into the USDC or whatever you want through Axelar automatically. So you're just automatically buying the NFT through funds on a different chain. That's what I think it's going to mean, I believe.
That would be awesome. And then you tie that into the global order book. I mean, it's just, I'm just like putting these pieces in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're just like, it's just going to be like this giant web of interoperability that people don't even know what's going on.
You know what I was thinking, don't you?
Yeah, probably.
How's Paul Byron gonna spin this walled garden narrative now?
Oh man, did you see that clip I sent you? Speaking of him, with I forget the guy's name from Merit Circle. Did you see that clip I put in the Discord?
Yeah. Did you not see my response?
No, I didn't. I was like, how did you not respond to this?
Look me up. You have to look up replies. It's an actual quote tweet, and you'll see what I wrote. You can even read it out if you like.
Okay, hold on.
Show it. But ultimately, this here is like the end of a walled garden, potentially, by the sounds of it. I'm not certain how it's exactly going to work and how ready it'll be out of the box when ZKVM launches, but 56 chains being able to just interoperably use spend across each other. And you can see Devin Ferreira, who's the ex-marketing lead at Immutable. This partnership is good for everyone. So it's got AVAX on it, Solana. You look at the chain, there was sort of a tweet with it. There's every big chain you could think of is on it, from layer 1s, layer 2s, other ZKs as well. So ZK Sync's on there, AVAX. You see my comment?
Is this where you're comparing him to Kagi? Is that the one?
No, it's the quote tweet of Paul Barron's tweet from me.
I didn't see it. I'm sorry. I tried. Dude, when I was listening to that part that I clipped, I was just thinking of you the whole time.
If you just click on my name and look at not replies, just posts, I'm the third post on my tweet. But ultimately, it's where Paul Barron is interviewing him and just grilling him on Solana. You're going to include Solana? You're going to include Solana like he normally does with every single guest that comes on that's not on Solana. And I'm like, I make a comment. If you are building a game or product, you too can head onto the Paul Barron show to be Shield Solana.
He was trying so hard to put that in there, and the guy was having none of it. He totally.
I was like, oh mate, you understand,
dude? It was such a diss, though. Like, if you think about it, he goes, "Yeah, our concept is we want to go where the gamers is at." So he's basically said the gamers are not at Solana by saying that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Anyway, I thought it was. I only got 500 views on that one, and no comments. It was a little bit too spicy for people, I think. But yeah, if everyone knows the context, he literally interview every single time there's an Immutable project on his show. He starts criticizing their decision to go to Immutable, using the walled garden as his narrative, and the tech not being good. and then starts saying, "Why don't you go to Solana?"
Yeah, he starts
like
he goes to recruiter mode.
It's not like it's like one off. It's every single guest from Immutable that goes on his show. He does exactly the same thing on, and it's so unprofessional. Like, why would you? Like, do you understand how low credit? Like, how can anyone watch that guy seriously?
I'm
He's
so
literally
sorry
just
for bringing him up. I shouldn't have brought him up. I'm sorry.
It was me that brought him up because it was related to Axelar because if this enables cross-chain payments to buy NFTs on Immutable for 56 of the biggest chains in the world, it's like it's game over. It's good for everyone, all right, but mainly Immutable.
Agreed.
If they've got the games, yeah.
And
anyway,
another fresh announcement. Another one today. I didn't have time to prep because it just came out today, but Katana Inu, what an interesting name. Katana Inu. It's a battle royale NFT PC game with NFT skins, humanoid characters with the heads of animals. A couple weeks ago, we did a podcast. There was hyenas fighting each other. Now this is a mix of animals, maybe some humans involved.
You know what the Inu is, don't you?
Yeah, it's sticking a katana in you, right? Or
No,
is it Shiba? Is it Shiba?
Shiba Inu, yeah.
Okay.
So
I didn't know if it was a play on words or what.
Yeah, it is. It's like you look at the picture of the character. It's a Shiba Inu. So
oh,
the Dogecoin.
How did I miss that?
Dogecoin, and it, it's where Shiba Inu or Dogecoin is where it originated from. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I didn't catch that. I should have caught that, and I didn't.
No, it's all right. We don't. To be fair, we've had like an hour to prepare since this announcement. So it's
Yeah, 72,000 followers. I mean, it's just like, holy smokes. And like, this isn't the, giant game that, or giant collab with, Cool Cats or Imaginary Ones or another one we're going to talk about here soon. But it's still a decent sized one, 72K. That's nothing to yawn at, man.
Do you understand that Dogecoin and Shiba Inu were the top 10 chains?
No. I get that part. Yeah, it's just like...
Yeah. So, this is another DGen play, mate. It's as big as the other two, if you ask me, if not bigger. So, I'm really surprised because I've seen this game a while ago, and I'm like, this isn't the type of game that Immutable usually goes for. So, but I could see it had a huge following, lots of responses in their tweets, organic followers, and it looked pretty clean. The graphics look awesome. And they've announced that they're going to have in 2 weeks, they've got a screenshot of their a trailer, and they think they've mentioned if you think this is good, wait for 2 weeks when our official trailer comes out.
Oh my god!
So they've upgraded the graphics even more, and it looks really crisp. Kind of looks really cool. Like playing a game, the feel of the game is really important. So that what they get right, but it looks like the animations and the graphics are really cool for sword play. So I'm actually excited for it. I was actually going to look at it anyway, even if it wasn't on Immutable. So because I was taking a note of it. But yeah, that's another one, another DGen play from Immutable. 3 DGen plays in a week.
Yeah,
in a couple of days.
Boy, I can't wait to talk my final thoughts. I'm firing up right now. Just going through this. I gotta hold it in. All right. I'm gonna let you start off this next one because this is it's another one, baby. Another big one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it a bit later as well, some other subjects, but just to focus on the game. But Endless Clouds, Looperfy, who he hinted a year ago that Immutable was one of his favorites. He didn't hint it, he said it. He actually responded to me saying in a tweet saying Immutable's leading the charge. And so, yeah. That was back with StarkX only, and now the comment was pre Polygon announcement. So and they're coming to ZK EVM. Both since then he started Capsule Heroes, Treeverse, the massive game, one of the biggest. It's another DGen play because it's huge Web3 following, and lots of people's favorite game. It was mentioned in most anticipated games. It should have won it, in my opinion. It's a mobile MMO, Treeverse. Capsule Heroes is a brawler, a mobile brawler, and it looks really clean as well. So what did you think about this announcement, mate, and this win?
This has been, for a long time, on people's radar. One of the most anticipated games coming out. The amount of hype that was around where is this going was palpable. We were on Ansel's podcast, or not his podcast, I'm sorry, on his Spaces, where we were talking about, the differences between Immutable and Ronin. And they were even, making jokes about this coming to them. And there was a lot of chains that were trying to get this. This was a sought after prize by everybody. And congratulations, Immutable. Another win in a long line of many wins. And it's not just the game, it's the social the social that comes with it. With Loopify. Everyone knows who's Loopify in the Spaces. And now he's on Immutable. Yeah. So you got the game everybody's waiting for. You got the seal of approval by Loopify. This is a double win. And I don't even know anything about this capsule game. I didn't even know about Capsule Heroes. So
Capsule Heroes came from they had a wind down over Christmas last year, a year ago, and I think last year. 22, 23, and they said let's do a little hackathon internally and see what we can come up with, and it came out with this Capture Hero game that was really popular from the players. In a couple of weeks, they built the skeleton to it, and it was that good that they decided to build it as well.
This was a massive win. I don't think people think they know how big this was, but I don't think they know how big this was. The Loopify X, a seal of approval is big. It's big. Yeah. That's all there is to say about it.
In terms of network effect that it'll have, it's probably the I'd say up there that a lot of people are saying it's the biggest win. I like, there's a couple other games I think are bigger, personally, and but in terms of the Web3 network effect, this is the biggest one. When people hear that this quality of game, that this anticipated game chose Immutable, that will make in their mind, I want to build where they're building, kind of thing.
Yes.
But there's other games as well that I think might be bigger.
This is bigger than Cool Cats, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think so.
The games are what people are going to play this game, for a long time. I'm guessing, 5 million players within the first couple of months, I reckon.
Wow.
Yeah, they won't come out for a couple of years fully. I don't think until the end of 2024, maybe. I think it'll delay into 25. It's a long time to build an MMO. Capture Heroes will release this year, and I'm not saying they'll get 5 million, but Treeverse is the perfect game for crypto, and it's the artwork sense is like, RuneScape style. So there's so much nostalgia there. They could easily get 5 million. I think Blade of God and Guild of Guardians, and this is now up there with M3. That's how big it is. You saw my my 10 top 10 videos. I had Blade of God and Guild of Guardians as 1 and 2, or 1 and 2 and 3, and in 1 and 3, I think it was 1 and 2 from memory. So this Treeverse would probably be up there now. I'd have to think about it to put it where it end. Maybe 1 in terms of, and that's guessing number of players. It's got a chance to be the biggest crypto daily active users in the whole space. So it's a huge win for Immutable.
Yeah, congrats, Robbie. Congrats, the team at Immutable. This was huge. I wasn't sure where they're gonna go, but man, I was crossing my fingers. It's like if you guys, they don't spend a lot on chasing these games, but I was like, if you're gonna spend a lot, this is probably the one to do it on. And I don't know if they did or not. I have no idea. I'm just saying that in conjecture that if I'm the king of Immutable, I was going in and all in after this one, and I'm glad they got it. Hats off to you guys.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to move off from the really great news to the what's pissing us off this week?
Yeah. We've had a lot of hype and positive. Let's tone down our positivity for just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too long. I'll kick off. But there's just been a huge amount of claims on X, by other chains. And, sometimes Immutable does it a little bit as well, but I don't feel it is as bad. They don't, when they, there's 70% of games building on Immutable, like that message came across could be construed as, and I've heard people say, Immutable's has got 70% of all games, crypto games, building on it. It's not the case. It's nowhere near the case. There's 4,000 games in crypto that we know of, Web3 games, and only 250 that we know of are building on Immutable. So it's not 70% of games. It's those 250 have got the lion's share of funding, and it's not 70% of funding anymore. But in 2022, they got 70% of funding, and some of those didn't come over to Immutable. They stayed on Polygon, so on proof of stake. So, there's that. But that's not nice. I don't like that. That kind of trick marketing. That's the Immutable's worst case scenario. But the other ones, like daily active user claims and active wallet claims, like Scale Network, they literally claim they've got 10 million daily active users on their platform. That's not true, mate. They don't do any volume at all in anything other than maybe tokens being sent around, in bots to make it look like they are, And they're claiming $3 billion in gas, saved. Are you telling me that they've saved more gas than Immutable by 5x that's had actual products running for years and years and years? It's Immutable's saved $600 million or $800 million worth of gas their whole entire lifetime. They've been going for 5 years. Scale has got a couple of games in it that have got a lot of bots in it and don't do any volume, but they claim they've saved this much gas. It's just lies, mate, and Pixels with their daily, constantly quoting their daily active users when it's quite clear that there's bots farming, and there's been evidence of that. And so, yeah, it's just annoying. Like, do they think that helps when they say their daily active users is 170,000 when people know it's not? Or when they say that they've got 10 million active wallets and people know it's not? It makes people just think, well, you're lying, and I think, I think the whole industry could come down to just being a little bit more honest about their performance and speaking real numbers. That's my little rant for the week. Over.
Yeah, I was expecting a little more fire and brimstone for you, but you're right. You're absolutely right. But if that's the worst Immutable's doing, I don't think it's that bad, because there's some gray tones to that where, if you don't have the funded games, your chances of succeeding are not very good. So if they have the lion's share of the funding, they are kind of having the majority of the best chance. So are they stretching that a bit? Yes, but they're not completely lying.
Let me make sure I was saying that Immutable kind of do it, but it's based on truth.
Right.
But then these ones are complete and utter lies. Mm-hmm. So that your daily active users are bots, but you keep on, the official account, your founders keep on actually quoting these numbers as a selling point during their chain.
I get it.
And I said Mutables is a little bit different because it's based on truth, but it's also, it's been, because of it, there's been fake stuff promoted by other parties. Yeah. Not by them. But anyway.
Yeah. So
that's my whinge is over.
This was a big one for me this week. I've kind of tried to, stay out of the muck, lots of muck. We talked about this ahead of time, that if Treeverse goes Immutable, there's going to be a massive storm of delicious tears that fall everywhere. And we were on the spaces with some of their people, Finn and Axel, and they were throwing around liberally, like, yeah, it's coming to us. And I remember saying on there, I don't care where it goes to. I don't care what chain it goes to. I want to play this game. This is an awesome looking game. I have a lot of hype about this. I hope it comes Immutable, but wherever it goes, I'm going to play it. And what I watched was even more than I was expecting. I was expecting a bunch, but this was like, it's just the same thing. And all they're doing, they are we throw out criticisms to the Ronin chain that they're just there to pump and dump. We say it publicly. And if that's what they want to do, fine. That's fine. But quit acting like that's not what you're about. They want to put on this facade that they're the gaming chain and that's what they're there for. And no, You're there to make a quick buck. Some of you are going to make a bunch of money. A lot of you there are going to lose. That's what you are. I'm sorry. I'm going to call it as it is. And what pisses me off is you got mad, not you, Rubik, but the Ronin community got mad because you didn't get your way. And then you went from Treeverse being the best game of all time to it's terrible and it's going to fail, and you did a massive flip-flop because you didn't get your way. And then the king of them, who is accused Immutable of being pure announcements, which is just absolutely hilarious for him to say that. He wants to go out there, and I've got the post up so people can see it as we're talking. If you're on audio, sorry, you'll have to look at the video when you see it. But he says, let me translate. I already knew I would go for the money even a year ago because what I lack the most is integrity. And he's taking a shot at Loopify, basically. He's questioning Loopify's integrity. Loopify is making the best decision for his company from a business aspect. He is not... I'm going to assume he's not a dummy with everything that he's built so far, okay? This guy clearly could go to any chain he wants. And if he wanted to make money, why not go to the Ronin Network? And he could get that quick pump and dump of his assets very easily, I'm sure. So that right there debunks Kaggy's argument of that he's just doing it for money and that he lacks any integrity. He's looking at what is the long-term best play. And his decision was Immutable. And I don't care how you want to spin it. I don't care how much you want to say it's not going to make it because the 100,000 people that we're going to support it won't be there. What it comes down to is you, Kaggy, and the Ronin Network, you lost. L-O-S-T. You lost. And you should. And on top of it, and now hold on, let me finish here. On top of it, not only did you lose, you showed your cards of what your network is about. Because if you were about the space and about the longevity of a game, you would have accepted the decision. Because if Loopify goes on with his game, and I'm just throwing a number out here, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Let's say he gets 10 million people into his game in the first year. That amount of people coming in will trickle out into the rest of the community because they'll come here like, oh, well, this Web3 isn't that bad. What else is there out there? And they'll start looking around and it'll build the whole entire community. But no, you want to be selfish and be like, oh, I'm not playing this game. I'm leaving your Discord now and selling my assets. Please sell them. I want to buy some at a low price. Do me a favor. But you showed your cards. You showed what you're about. Case closed. We don't have to debate anymore. Ronin is about pump and dump. I'm done.
Well, that was awesome. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's all right. I told you I was pissed.
If you still got that tweet open with where he made that comment, if you go down into the comments, he gives some reasoning behind it about how Loopify a year ago put a picture of Treeverse on the Mavis Hub, the game launcher.
Yep.
Excuse me. And then it says, look, he's even teased us than that. But if you look, the next tweet straight after it, if you go into, I went into that tweet, found it, and straight after it, literally seconds after, he writes another tweet saying, just joking, just having a laugh. So are you brain dead? Like, you think that he's coming to Ronin? Or do you think maybe you wanted it to happen so bad that your brain is warped in the perception of what actually was promised? It became you look at Ansel, who's a lovely guy who he's not. He said it in our before. He's not a gamer. He's a degen and he's here for the money. And like he's already said that he's like he was the one that started going Treeverse, and he was pumping it. And then Loopify said, "Oh, I'm open to it. I'm open to discussing." This is on Twitter again. Open to discussing with Ronin, So from that and that tweet, that's where they've taken that they've won it.
I used to think. Go ahead, finish.
No, go.
I used to think a long time ago. I used to watch Kaggy's stuff. I'll be honest, I did. I used to watch it. I gave him a benefit of doubt. I thought he had some good content. My opinion has changed. I think he is what's wrong with the space anymore. And I don't mean to insult him. I mean, he does a lot of hard work. He's good at his craft. He's made a name for himself. But, like, he's become, in my opinion, he's the BitBoy Crypto of the Web3 space now, in my opinion. I don't know what happened to him. Well, I do. He's chasing money. He wants FU money. I literally heard him say he wants FU money. And when you get that mindset, you don't care who you step on. You don't care what you do. You become almost subhuman. And I know that's harsh, but that's where he's at with me right now. I've lost all respect for him because, you know, he's questioning a man's integrity that's trying to make a good business decision. And I won't keep ranting on this, but like, if you guys do whatever you want to do, but I think he's bad for the space, and that's all I'll say about it.
He's just 2 hours ago from this recording, he's wrote a post saying, I'm having a blast in crypto bond team. Definitely better than Illuvium. Like, he's just gone now he's just gone anti-immutable. I don't know why he's done that. He got influenced by that Davicio guy that I had a bit of a run in before, you know, that had an Etherbots issue with Etherbots, one of the first games ever to be built. You know, expected it to be like modern and work, you know, like when everything's getting worked out. And so I think he mentioned that to me once, you know, when we used to talk on Twitter. And but it's yeah, he's just taking a dislike in Immutable because his bags aren't there, and so, you know.
And he's getting his ass kicked too. That's why. That's another reason. He's getting his ass kicked.
To say that CryptoMon is better than Illuvium, I've never even heard of them. Have you heard of them? They're actually pretty big. They've got 125,000 followers.
No, I've never heard of them. Graphics are cool, but I mean, graphics aren't everything. I know nothing about it. I'm looking at it right now.
The graphics are so average, mate.
Are they? Oh, now I see it. Okay, well, the picture he had up there looked cool, but now I see the gameplay. Yeah, it's watered down. Yeah. That's not graphically, that's not better than Illuvium. No way.
This ties back to the tribalism thing. The major point of the rant from you is like, why would you do that? Like, I would never say that about a game on Ronin, even if I've got no problem with Ronin, even though you hear me regularly, you know, diss it. It's more these people like Kagi that are actually divisive and bringing the space down rather than bring it like rising all ships. Mm-hmm. You know, like I get what you're saying, mate. But
the trickle-down effect. It's the trickle-down effect. If one game gets a whole bunch of people in it, they're going to say, oh, what's this Web3 thing? And they're going to start looking around, and it's going to trickle into everybody. So that's why I've said it repeatedly. We need to be all cheering and working together instead of this, you know, oh, you're out because you're not in our network pumping our token. Yeah, screw that, man. I'm done with those people. Anyway, I think we had enough negativity, didn't we?
Well, we were going to talk about ROM Meltdown later on, but I guess we'll end it with this here. I just wanted to add one thing, but like the last thing I want to say is, do we want to do the ROM Meltdown as well, or just make it this?
Oh, gosh, we kind of morphed into that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
When before he announced who he was going to go with, Jihoz wrote a post saying, like, did you see that post? It was like, we don't want to we want to partner with people that, you know, get us and all this kind of stuff. You know, like it was like a little salty post to kind of indicate that they hadn't won. Everyone knew what it meant before the announcement, that it meant that they didn't win. What's it called? Treeverse. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's. Where is it? I want to read it out exactly. Yeah, it's 10 hours ago, so that's more than that. I can't find it, but anyway, he said that ultimately that, you know, we want to work with founders that get us experimental. He was kind of putting the blame on them, on Loopify and Treeverse, that they aren't good enough for us. Like that was really the message. Like, this is the message I would have said. We missed out on a really awesome opportunity to partner with an amazing product. You know, what we want to do from here is learn from why we missed out. Hopefully, with all the time we've invested, we can get some feedback from that and work out what we can do to improve ourselves to be better positioned for the next time that one of these amazing opportunities come up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like admit that you lost because you're shit. Your product's shit. It's not very good, and there's things you need to work on. You know, why did we not win this project? Right? They said we didn't win it because of Looperfy, not because we didn't win because of us.
Yep.
You know, that's the problem with this world right now. Taking responsibility, and that would make me hungry to do better. If I was in Jiho's position, I would say, I want to find out where we missed out, where our gaps are, and work so that next time we're better positioned to win that product. Not this bitchy kind of attitude that just salty, more salt, drink it. You know, like it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's just now everyone else is going to be like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to part with those guys. Look at the way they respond when they don't win.
You know what else?
500 chains, mate.
Yeah.
To choose from.
You know what else that says too?
Yeah. What?
That number, those numbers they like to throw out with, 100, 150,000 army strong and daily active users. It's not as valuable as they're making it out to be. Because if it was, and we've talked about this, it's such a small percentage of the global population of gamers. The big prize is that 1% to 2% in the mainstream. And Looperfy probably gets that. So those numbers that they like to lean on as their number one selling card, it's not that valuable. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that they do this, that they have this attitude. They've done it from the start. When I was in Axie, before, when there was only Axie, Psychout used to go mental on Twitter all the time and have blowouts, and in the Discord, I used to sit there and just laugh at him. And so I learned about crypto gaming through Sky Mavis, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And I am no longer a supporter of theirs. Like, I don't care if they win or not. Like, I don't care. I don't want to see them fail. But I chose Tesla to invest in because of the founder. I saw something special there in someone that was going to change, had the capability to change and to lead from the front. And look at what that person's done since then. That was 10 years ago, man. You know, it's the fastest growing large manufacturer ever in the history of the world. You know, it's groundbreaking technology across the board, that no one else can do, including land rockets. Full self-driving's about just launched version 12, which is off neural nets. Mm-hmm. So it's literally no longer code. It's run off neural nets now, like a brain. Mm-hmm. So it copies humans. So it's like, I picked Tesla because of that, and I picked Immutable because Robbie is the woke version of Elon Musk. Yeah, he's a genius, but he's more on the left, where Elon's on the right. That's the only, that's the only difference.
I'm not sure. Lately he's been.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I know.
It's a joke.
I know. I'm just saying lately he's been saying a lot of things that lean towards a capitalist, and I agree a lot with what you said about taking responsibility and building things. And I want to retract something. It is valuable in this space, the amount of people they have in their organization over at Ronin, but in the grand scheme of things outside this space, it's not. I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to be coarse with that earlier, but the value here versus what is outside of this space, it's one drop in a giant 500-gallon tote.
They've also only got 3 games, mate, you can play.
I know.
Hyperion and Pixels. Like, so their whole community have got the time. They don't have to choose between what games they're playing. So they've got time to play all 3 of them. 1 hour of Axie, 1 hour of Pixels, and if they want to play Hyperion, they can spend a couple, log in and have a couple of games. Like, and then their numbers look amazing. Yeah. Also, there's lots of botters. Like when I had an Axie account, I had like 150 accounts. So, and then a lot of the people that were playing my accounts had multiple accounts. So I knew one guy that had 10 accounts, was making $1,000 a month times 10 playing, because he's playing it on 10 different phones. Gotcha. So, these numbers aren't, that they quote all the time. They're just very easily manipulated into looking better than they are. And they have definitely got the most number of dedicated players, Web3 players, definitely at the moment, but it's not that big a lead that they make out. And final point on it is that, back to why you'd never ever, if I ever saw a tweet like that from, GLs wrote, not suing these partners after the Gala suing thing, just stoking fire, like that behavior and Psychout's flip outs and him going on Paul Barron and attacking Immutable verbally, and them writing comments like, I don't even see Immutable as a major threat, I'm more worried about Arbitrum, things like that. Like just constantly writing this garbage against Immutable. Like, this is the reason that community attacks Immutable all the time.
Dude, I
The
just
big dog in the house.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you
Big
off.
dog in. Yeah, that's all right. I was finishing up. The big dog in the house and led from the top. They're it's permission. Go ahead and attack. And it's actually the reason they lost. Why they lost Endless Clouds, because when Lupify wrote a comment saying it doesn't matter, shouldn't matter what game, what platform it's on, they started attacking him. They started literally before the decision was made, and so this culture of toxicity that they've built and fostering and giving the green light to is the reason they lost Endless Clouds. I thought they were going to win it, to be honest with you, but when I saw them attacking Lupify in the Discord and in Critter, and it wasn't just one or two, it was like 50 people.
Yeah.
What do you think that person's going to do? Like, I don't want to be around these people. I don't want this. I don't want these people as my supporters.
How is that helping your cause?
Yeah. And if Robbie had wrote a tweet like that ever in the history of his tweets and attacking someone else or making a comment that when they lost the game that it was the game's fault, not their own, I'd stop supporting Immutable, because that's probably the reason why I don't support Ronan now, because just I follow Tesla because of the leader, and I follow Immutable for the leader, and I'm pretty certain that the winner is going to be Immutable, and I'm pretty certain people are starting to see that now. You're starting to see the community really grow in Immutable now. Like right now, just before ZKVM and all these game announcements, I'm starting to see a lot more actual people, Immutable fans, coming out of the woodworks now. Yep,
you can almost smell it coming. So, yeah, I think we nailed that one. We do need to move on, and I think where are we at it?
We're up to Immutable news.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yep.
And this is a positive one.
Yeah.
Back to positivity. It's GOG has released in Canada.
Dude, I got massive FOMO right now. I can't play it because I'm not in Canada, and I'm just watching. I should have. I had a lot going on in my personal life around when all this came out, so the time constraints would have been bad for me. And from what I'm seeing, people are playing 6 to 12 hours a day. So I'm seeing the word addictive. I've seen some of the gameplay and some of the UX improvements, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have FOMO. I'm massive FOMO for this right now. I've had my expectations low because of things in the past, but like it's the energy for GOG starting to flow back in my veins again, man. I expect some content down the road for myself around this when I can get my hands on it. We're talking about getting an X Spaces going with some some GOG peeps from the community to talk about the experience and talk about the state of GOG. Yeah, I'm trying to contain it, but I'm getting pumped up, man.
Yeah, I was so pumped for it too. There was Chris on a comment recently said they're a bit disappointed by the retention of day one people, but really, really solid day three for the people that stayed from day one to day two, day three. So
that's a question.
Day seven is looking good as well, he said. So
that's a question I want to ask him when we get to talk to him soon. Let the cat out of the bag on that one. But yeah, I want to ask him about that because they wanted to go after non-core members in Canada, and I think they got that. And I'm wondering if those non-core members were the ones that were bringing down that retention factor on day one versus the core members that were able to get in and play the crap out of the game. I'm really wondering if they think that that's what it was, and hopefully it's not, but it probably is, I would guess. What do you think of that?
Also, I think maybe the VPN, like there'd be a lot of people that plugged in a VPN to play it, but it's a bit of a pain in the ass to do it, you know what I mean? So you're like, might just do it to try it and then go, oh yeah, this is cool, and then not play again just because you're not supposed to.
Right.
Well, I reckon that was what I would have done. If I thought about it and I didn't do it because I didn't want to give them the bad stat, the fake bad stat. Just add to it, you know what I mean? I didn't want to just log in for one day, get a VPN set up, log in for one day. I don't want to have to deal with that. So, you know what I mean? But I nearly did it just to try and see what it's like. But I thought, you know what? I'll be patient. I'll wait for my turn.
Nice.
Yeah, but GOG is, the releases, you know, people are addicted to it. The comments are, you know, the videos look great. the positivity about the change coming to it. The few little changes they made to it from the last playtest that people are really saying that's really good. Actual complaints that there's too much time available to play.
Yeah.
Again, it's like a good sign to have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we gotta keep this ship going. This is you, man. What's happening on Immutable? I know you put these posts out on X and they're super popular. What's up with what you got going on there now?
Just going to run through them quick. I think Project Kaizen's opened up to everyone. You don't have to be a holder of token anymore, so I might do a tweet on that soon. Metatoy City is doing an airdrop. They also, Metatoy Dragons had a tweet that they're going to go join WHOIMX. I asked them in their Discord, does that mean they're not coming to ZKAVM now? They didn't respond, and the person that does respond to all that did respond straight after my chat, like about half an hour later, to someone above me that asked the question. So a bit worried there that maybe Metatoy Dragons going to go to WHOIMX instead, because that chain's having a lot of success in Korea because the numbers are big because Koreans are open to crypto gaming. So that's going to be Immutable's biggest challenge is breaking into that, getting the Korean local people to understand Immutable and where to access Immutable and how to use it. So, I'm pretty sure that they've got that sorted out though. They've hired a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
Grant stepped away from Illuvium, and that was kind of interesting.
Big news there.
Alcoholism, as he blamed it for, is the problem. So sounds like he, had a running with Kieran and he admitted fair enough. He thought, you can't if he's let the team down, and it, got it into a position available, ready for him to provide to continue on without him. So they've got, that's all sorted. Not good public news, but Australia, that's Australia for you. We don't do fake things. It's all out in the public in Australia. Oh well, many Australians are like that. Ember Swords changing their weekly Wednesday developer kind of updates with all those cool videos they did on their progress to going to be more focused on lore, which is going to be the story and drop around Ember Sword, which would be awesome. And the developer diary still, the interview with the developers is going to be more focused on the development of the game. And a few playtests. Moonstrike looks to be releasing in January. A playtest. Evermoon's opened up to everyone. Lusa waitlist. You can get Lusa's about to opening up to playtest, and Sail Wars open beta now as well. As well as Rave Racing. The Venom, no longer Venom, now Immutable Racer. You can play a racing game on Immutable right now. That's all my shorts.
Real quick, Sail Wars. I'm playing it. So is Wandering Gale. I've enjoyed it so far. I've enjoyed it. It reminds me of some things. I'm gonna keep it in because I got to make a video on it. But if you haven't played it yet, I would recommend it.
All right, I'm gonna go down.
We're in Alliance. We're in Alliance too. Go there for Immutables. Yeah. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy to play. It's just you can tinker around with it. It's a lot of building stuff and timers and stuff. But I can see the potential. I'm looking at it. It's got my interest peaked.
Yeah. Sweet. So moving on, couple of episodes, couple of things. What I call media representations from Robbie and one from Chris Clay. The really cool one was the year in review predictions. There was a few things that come out of that. What you can go first, mate. What did you think of that Between Two Layers predictions episode that came out just a couple of days ago?
You want to go through them all real quick? I got them down here.
Yeah, you go, mate.
Okay, well, I'll get your takes on them too. Justin Hulog says there's going to be a game with 100,000 monthly active buyers, which means 1 million users. What do you think?
I think maybe yes. My predictions had that already.
Yep.
I think 2.5 million for Goggle Blade of God.
This is monthly active. I said yes to this too. Monthly active.
Oh yeah, monthly. Sure. I think we'll definitely get a couple of games into that space.
Yeah, I think he's right about that one. Next one was Daniel Pice. I hate names. I do terrible. He's from Gods Unchained. Studios being able to fund themselves from their own token economy. I said no. I don't think they'll be quite yet this year to be able to do that. Maybe one or two, but not a lot of them. What do you think?
Daniel Paez, his name was.
Yeah, Pace.
Daniel. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't really understand that too much. You know how much I pay attention to tokens? I just don't really care. You know, like it's. I don't. If people work out that they can't get rich playing games. Like,
well, the context of that is that there's going to be good enough games and enough volume to where their own economies can sustain them and they don't have to rely upon grants or VCs. I don't think so by this year. I don't think so.
I don't think it's going to be, not this year, and I don't think there'll be many that can. You know, we all know about
right.
Look at Palworld, come out of nowhere. You know, we'll talk about that in a second.
His other one was layoffs. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm finished.
His layoffs. He said also layoffs from Web 2 are going to drive more game developers into Web 3. I agree.
I agree, but that doesn't mean it's going to have any impact this year, in terms of consumer-facing products. Yeah, like it takes years to build games. So if these guys come in now, it's 5 years away from
right,
or 3 to 5 years away.
Agreed.
From any real impact from that, but it'll make it cheaper to hire devs in the gaming space. More opportunities to be able to attract devs. When a company makes a massive round of layoffs, like say Activision lets off 10% of people, what that effect has is anyone knows is like, am I next? And someone knocks on the door and says, hey, I've got this massive amount of funding. We've got a 5-year project. You know, we're looking to scale up. That's more secure than staying in Activision because you could be next. So, you know, it doesn't mean necessarily that's the outcome, but it means that people are more willing to take a call.
Yeah.
Know that from my recruitment days.
Yeah, I figured that was
when anyone made a layoff and it was announced, I was on the phone to that company, to anyone I knew in that company, going, "Hey, how you going?" being the hound dog style of job it is, and why we're rated worse than used car salesmen in terms of respect from people in the community.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was expecting that kind of answer from you with you being a recruiter and all that. So. Next one is this one shocked me.
Former, let's go back to that. Make that clear. Former recruiter.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay. I wouldn't do it for $1 million a year now.
Oh wow.
You know, I hate it so much. It just broke my soul.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Chris Clay was the next one, and this one shocked me. Chris Clay is just one of those guys that's just super smart, and I'm not saying this is going to be wrong, but I didn't agree with him on this. His premise is that Web3 has always been, well, not always, mostly been high value NFTs with low volume of them. Basically, less supply, super high valuations on them for people chasing them down, especially the whales. He thinks going into 2024 that culture is going to shift and we're going to see more players that are actually playing the games minting from in-game and more of those selling on the market versus the high value niche whale chasing for the flips. I don't agree with that. I think the flipping for high value dollars and the niche products is going to remain. What's your thoughts?
He's a year early. I definitely think that's going to be the case. If you get a 1 million person game, that you can, like say for example Metalcore, where you mint in the game. If you get 1 million people playing it, constantly minting, selling and buying within the game of parts they need and of mechs and ships and stuff, like they're not going to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. They're going to be like $10, $20, and so he'd be right. But does Metalcore get 1 million players? There will be the speculators then that go and buy their Gen Zeros because value go up. But this idea of flipping NFTs is a bubble. Yeah, and it's one of the it's an overall Ponzi scheme. There's no value to a picture of a cat, a picture of an ape. There's no value to it whatsoever other than being part of a club. And that club hasn't got endless resources just to keep pumping out to you to keep that value going. They've got to keep selling more, which dilutes the value. So I think that he's right, that will happen. If it happens this year, it'll be in the last quarter. We start to see that shift, in my opinion. So he might be right. I'm going to side with him.
Well, I'm going on no for this year. He said this year. I don't think it happens this year. So I'm with you. I think down the road.
I think this year I'm going to side with him. I think quarter 4 this year, when We've got our million-player games. We're going to start to see,
Okay.
there'll be big high-value flips on speculators, but they're going to get wrecked eventually when the Ponzi crashes for them. And when it's going to crash one day when all these JPEGs of apes is going to be worth nothing. It's going to happen, promise you. Like, they're already down like heaps big. So
Okay, so we got a yes for you.
All Ponzi's crash.
Yes for you. A no from me. Now, listening to what you said, I will say this. If regulatory issues come in and stomp these down, then I agree with him. But that's the only way I agree with him for this year. So, next up, we got Scott Herman from WHOIMX Games. His predictions were from 6 to 8 months ago. I don't know why they took the predictions back then or using them now, but they did. So, I'm going to try to summarize. He had quite a few. It's going to be the biggest bull run crypto has ever seen, and gaming is going to lead it. Interoperability gets better. Influencers and streamers lead the charge for this because of the human effect. And we lose the Web3 classification, and it just becomes games and normalized. I agree with all those statements up to the Web3 losing its classification, but I think those are kind of general, and that's always going to happen. What you said, biggest bull run crypto scene, gaming leads it. We all agree on that. Interoperability gets better. Yeah, eventually that's going to happen. But the Web3 losing its classification as being Web3 and it just goes to normal just games, I don't think we're anywhere near that right now. What's your thoughts on all that?
The WHOIMX team are good at hype. They believe that their game is going to be this huge multi-million player game, and I think it could be, but it's got to get more polished than it is now. That's for sure. It's fun, but it's not something I'd play more than the bare minimum that I need to. There's not a lot of range to strategies to go for. So they've got a lot of depth to build into their game. And if that happens, that's why I think he's believing this, because he thinks he might know that that's happening and that's going to release in the first couple of quarters. So yeah, maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe the bull run comes again. It's just stuff I don't care about. I just care about playing games.
Well, here's Robbie's. He gave 5, so I'll try to make this as short as possible. Web3 Gaming gets a blockbuster game this year, and 2 to 5 other hits, but a lot of high failure rate. I agree with that. What do you think?
Yep.
Okay. Next one. Huge rush of VCs and some game devs after the first major hit. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. If that happens.
Yep. His third. Gaming tokens become the most popular way to invest. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
It already is, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, depending on most cases it is over the NFTs. His fourth, ZK. Oh, you're gonna love this one.
Yeah.
I thought of you instantly. ZK EVM becomes the default gaming use for everybody.
Well, I think he means the default chain style to use on the EVM. So the side chains and the optimistic roll-ups become less and less considered for ZK EVMs. I think that's a bit of hopium this year. I think it might happen in 3 years. We're so far behind. If you look at the Layer 2 Beat website, it's got huge amounts of investment in optimistic roll-ups. They're the leaders by far in terms of total value locked at the moment. So there's a long way to go for it to be considered, and that sways a lot of people's decisions. Crypto unicorns that's just migrated from what's it called? Polygon's proof of stake to optimistic rollup. He knew in his I spoke to Aaron. I'm in his founders channel. I speak to him often, the CEO there. Really nice guy. And he said he chose them because he doesn't feel the securities that's needed in ZK EVM for games. I completely disagree. It's like saying that I don't care if you look at the difference in Robbie, and he says that securities are the only thing that matters. After that, everything else matters. And so that's what ZK EVM. So you still got people that don't think that security is that important. It will take a huge hack of an optimistic roll-up, like I think Optimism, where the fraud proofs that are predicted in the past, for people to go, if that happens, then that will definitely happen this year. But if it doesn't, I don't think this year. I think next year.
Awesome. And his last one here, I'm going to agree with you on that because you know more about that than I do. But the last one, if Immutable takes off the way he thinks it's going to and they land those games, he predicts a lot of grifters start popping up to copy Immutable's formula. What is your thoughts on that? I wanted to hear what you had to say.
Did you say his own formula? I thought he just meant in the space in general.
Well, he didn't say formula. I just kind of threw that in there. He didn't say formula.
Yeah, I thought he meant just grifters come into the space to try and copy people that are successful. So yeah, it's already happening. They still are here. Then everyone says they're not here now. They're here, mate. What are you talking about? Every second game's a grift. Every second one.
Yeah, I thought he meant that they're going to be trying to grift what Immutable does, though. Like,
what is it? I don't understand what that means.
Their ecosystem using ZK EVM. Yeah, like they'll use the ZK EVM. This is how I took it. I not exactly what it said. They use the ZK EVM for the infrastructure, and then they start up their studio around it. Maybe I read that wrong from him.
I just thought he meant grifters come into the space because of the success of this thing but they're already here.
Okay. I had a lot to digest today, so maybe I took that the wrong way.
Yeah.
A couple other mentions I wanted to mention about Between Two Layers before we move on. I thought this was the most significant. I mentioned this earlier. Half the pipeline is not even announced yet. And the other one, for the testing, they had 12,000 games designers on testnet, and they have 13,000 game designers on the Immutable hub. And this is all supposed to be coming out within the next year or so. Huge numbers.
What do you mean next year or so?
You said within the next year. They've got this. I don't even know what it is. The Immutable hub. Immutable hub.
That's Immutable hub's the developer environment for people the tools for developing that they need in the docs. So they go in there, they can get all the access to the docs. So yeah. I think it means the games that they're building coming out in the next year. Or the products and games. Yeah? Is that what he meant?
I thought he meant 13,000 game designers. I thought I heard him say that we're on the Immutable hub. And
yeah, so 13,000 developers have signed up to the developer hub, which the developer hub is a platform with all the tools and documentation for you to be able to build on Immutable ZKVM and the StarkX stack. So they're up to 13,000 devs that are working, that have got accounts and working on products.
Right.
On Immutable.
That's quite a bit, isn't it? Or no?
Yeah, it's a lot. But it's I thought not the developer. If he said a date around anything, it would mean in the next 12 months the products that they're building are going to come out in the next 12 months. That's
okay. All right, I misspoke.
The developer hub's out now. Yeah. Did you have anything else from that?
Nope, that's that. There's a lot, but we've chewed up a lot of time. That was like two of the big things.
I've got some big things that you missed.
Okay.
Which was great because I get to say something and I like the sound of my own voice. Maybe everyone else doesn't, but I do. So he called it and what was it called? He gave it a name. But it's the Polygon Immutable Joint Fund for bringing on for grants, early stage grants. So their Immutable's 500 million developer grants on their own are not grants. They're not money up front. Here you go. It's incentivized grants that you've got to hit certain volume to unlock the grant.
Correct.
So it becomes helping the flywheel. They've now got $100 million early stage game grant system. So they're going to get in earlier and start giving money earlier, jointly Polygon and Immutable.
Mm-hmm.
So that started last month, which is amazing. Means more games in the future. So not just now, but in the future, the big games. They can get in early, lock in these big games that they think are going to be good with the good teams. Those grants come with demands to work on, obviously build on Immutable ZKVM.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a little gem about Passport, the Guardian tool. So there's a big,
yes.
They've got a Guardian aspect to, which is their machine learning aspect of the tool, and it's it is the thing that can control if like they've got this machine learning to fraud prevention. So that's also been configured to only allow games to do transactions without the user signing on their assets only, which is huge. That's one of the biggest problems of this interoperability of if it would create, if they didn't have that, it would create a huge security risk. That if one person could find one vulnerability, they could hack and get everything. Yeah?
Right.
Well, now if they find one vulnerability, the only thing that's going to get hacked is that game because it'll block everything else, which is the one negative to Immutable's interconnected ecosystem versus, say, Sequence or Magic, that is their individual wallets for each game that they create. Where, yeah, so that to me was like a huge one, the biggest point that I never thought of, that the Guardian tool that they've built in will protect your assets. So if, for example, Metalcore gets hacked, your shard-bound assets are safe. So that's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, I remember hearing that part. That was really good. There was also, oh, go ahead. You keep going.
I mean, I have one more point, but did you want to say something?
No, I want to hear what you have to say first. There was something I forgot to say, but go ahead.
So I forgot when they were advertising about ZK EVM mainnet, that they announced that it will first release to certain projects only. It's like special projects only.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so on the 31st of January when we expect it to be released, ZK EVM, that is, it's a test net. It's a beta mainnet release.
Mm-hmm.
The full release is not until March, which is open to everyone. So a little bit of a bummer from that message. I forgot about that. They had actually advertised that before, and that's what's going to happen. So it'll be limited games. So our guess of 10 or 8 games launching from the start may not actually happen. So, it might not be any. So, but maybe Metalcore, that'd be it. But we'll see. With WITS following not long after it.
Right. They're not. Yeah. They're in the full shebang of all the games on ZKVM won't happen until April 2025. I think I heard him say also. I wasn't expecting that.
What did he say? I missed that.
So you were right. March of 2024, there's going to be a select amount of games that are on the ZK EVM using it, but the rest won't likely be happening until April of 2025, I think is what he said.
No, because he also said throughout it there's going to be 100 games launched this year and 50 to 100 this first half.
I'm going to have to go back and re-listen. Maybe I got it wrong.
Yeah.
I thought he was talking about the ZK EVM games, so apologies if I got it wrong, everybody. That's what I thought I heard.
No, he might be talking about the... I missed it completely, but I'm certain that March this year is the year that it opens up to everyone. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. We'll have to put some show notes in and confirm what that is.
In our defense, that video just came out like 16 hours ago, plus all of our other prep for this 3-hour show. It's a lot to ingest, and sometimes we get things wrong, but we try to be right, and we will definitely check on it and go back and see.
The beta is in January, so if a game's ready to launch, Immutable's got bandwidth to help them launch, like to turn the whitelist on and audit their contracts. It can go. I think maybe it was April 2025 when it goes mainnet, but doesn't mean that games can't launch this year. Okay. It's going to be in beta, and it means that you can it's production. Beta's production. You can use it. Beta's a word to say we're not finished yet. There's app chains. There's so much to do. There's heaps about provers. They've got a long way to go before they're going to be ready but the actual games can launch in January, and in March I thought this year that it'll be more open to everyone. So January to March is their test period of their limited games, and then in March it goes live for everyone. That's what I thought. Gotcha. This year.
Okay, I probably got that wrong. So,
and the last thing is that he mentioned 12,000 games or projects, 12,000 unique projects building on Immutable. So I don't know if I heard that wrong. And he's saying he only counts the 250 as well-funded games, and it could be like little. Anyone can build on it, mate. It's open source, So but in one dev, one project, so 13,000 devs, you wouldn't have. Not many projects would have more than 2 or 3 devs working on the blockchain side of it. So if you've got 13,000 devs, are they all active? Are they all working on a project? Those 12,000 doesn't mean 12,000 projects are going to come out. Lots of them are going to be trials and go and left into the dust. But that's a huge number. So interesting.
Agreed. One thing I wanted to mention, checkout. I know you know a lot about this, but I did not know that they were going to be able to, under the hood, it'll automatically happen whether you're using L1, L2, or a credit card. It'll take somehow, some way with that magic that they got. It's going to take the best route for you if you have multiple options and use that. And I guess they're getting this technology ideas from the way Apple has structured their payment system with Apple Pay. And I'm sure it's with their third-party contractors that they're using to make this happen. And I thought that was a pretty big piece of information. I forgot to mention that before. Yeah,
I do too. That's really awesome. So just seamlessness, frictionless. You don't have to manually move your Ethereum from layer 1 to layer 2. It'll just do it for you for a payment, which means you'll have to pay gas. It'll a huge amount of gas because you're interacting with layer 1. Mm-hmm. But it's it's still on a ZK AVM transaction as well, so you pay double gas probably, which is not much on ZK AVM.
Right,
you'd be like $3, between $2 and $50 on Ethereum and 5-10 cents on ZK AVM.
Right.
All right, I think we just move on to the next. One of our final points is non-immutable news is the Palworld. We like to talk about one thing that's not about immutable, and that's the biggest talking point this week is Palworld. What did you think of Palworld?
I've been hearing a lot about it. I really didn't know much. It's a Web 2 game, right? Am I right on that? Or
yeah.
Okay, so I have limited time to keep up with Web 3. I don't really keep up with Web 2 a lot, but I had heard a lot about it. So I went and looked today, and I was very, very impressed. I was like, oh, wow, this looks very good. And hey, this kind of looks like Illuvium. I was like, whoa. Yeah. Obviously, some different twists and some different things. Boy, their character profile screen with the gear and the stats, man, that was sexy. It's all the talk of the town, and I see why it's all talk of the town. And I seen some worried sentiment from the Illuvium camp of them stealing Illuvium's thunder. I don't know if it's going to be a problem or not. I mean,
did you see the actual team say these things?
No. I seen people on posts, not anyone from the team. No, it was someone from the team. I forget who. They were like, yeah, we're just going to sit here and wait for copyright infringement. Or no, they put up a tweet about all these things that were being boasted about them, and then they had a red X for copyright infringement. And I thought that was pretty funny because the Pokemon style, and now Pokemon's talking about suing them. And if I'm in the Illuvium camp, I'm definitely keeping my eye on this. They don't have the play to earn aspect. That's what Illuvium has that they don't. But
yeah, I'm not worried about them.
No.
The sentiment that I want to take away from it was that everyone's saying that they only had a small amount of devs and a small budget, and within 3 years they have the game out, and look, Web3 crap, blah blah blah. But you've heard me say it before. Every the dev numbers and all that, and the budget and all that. How much depth is there to this game? And I've heard lots of comments about it being Unreal Engine. They haven't changed the assets. So they've just used the standard assets that are in it. So it looks to me if you look at the game, it looks pretty bland to me. It doesn't look that good to me. The game's fun, but I'm not a creature collector player, so I don't really care about the games. That's why I'm not massive on Illuvium myself. But it's compare these. It just annoys me that people who don't have any dev experience whatsoever make these comments like they're experts on development. This happened here, so why didn't you have it? The whole Web3 sucks, blah, blah, blah. We already know that entering Web3 into a game adds 40% of effort and cost to a game previously, before Immutable, it's a new technology, which is why they're winning so many games. So there's that reason. But also, this is built in China. Have you seen how fast Minelator is developing?
Yeah.
China's devs work for 12 to 16 hours a day.
Oh my gosh.
They cost barely a fifth of the salary of what the West salaries are for the same people. Mm-hmm. And they don't change a lot. They stay more. It's just like the Chinese army costs 1/10 to build the same rocket that America makes. You know, in the defense, it's 10 times cheaper because they've got better systems. They've got cheaper, better processors, cheaper everything, raw resources, and you know they work better as a team because they don't have all these laws that prevent you from making people work 12 hours a day.
Right.
So, you know, you can't just go in there. Do you want every Web3 game to be built in China? Let's do it. You know, like just stop talking about subjects you don't know about, man. And yeah, that not every game in Web 2 takes that long to build. Skull and Bones, mate, from Ubisoft is about to come out finally after 11 years being made. Like, do they go onto Twitter and go, Web 3 is amazing. These guys should move to Web 3 and build Web 3 because Web 3 builds games in 5 years. You know, like they don't do it in reverse when they have one example of being poor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you don't know the scenario. You don't know how code works for starters or how processes work when building code. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about, idiot. That's it.
Nice. Nice. That was a good take. I'm glad. And, I don't claim to know much about it. Like I said, I just started digging into it actually today. And actually today was the first day I looked at the game. And, you know, I could see the comparisons and just going off of what people are saying at the moment.
Yeah. Anyway, it looks pretty like put together pretty quick and cheaply. There's nothing stands out for me graphics wise. There's no energy put into the world. It looks generic, and it's a cool little, you know, this happens in gaming all the time. It's going to happen in Web3. There's going to be a game that no one expects, comes out of nowhere, that everyone starts playing and goes and gets 1 million players. And what game that is, no one knows, because gamers are sheep. They follow each other into the game, you know, and they just and really great games fail and really crap games succeed, and that's just what happens.
Agreed.
In gaming.
I agree. Well, is there anything else we got to cover? I think we're at the end, aren't we?
Yeah, mate. This has been going a while.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot that happened.
Another 3-hour episode, probably.
We're not short form content. We chop it up and kick it out because that's the only way we can be short. But whatever, is what it is. We're going into our final thoughts here. Our new segment that we started a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whenever we did it last. It's our second time doing it. So yeah, you wanna chomp at it first?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. Well, I've already covered it. I've just realised I'm doubling up here, but Treeverse win Endless Clouds. It's you know, I was personally told to not dive into the negativity because this is a great moment for Immutable, but I just couldn't help myself. I just had to do it because of the sheer amount of salt we're getting, you know, coming out. I was just like drinking those tears up so much, and I just did one little tweet. Sorry, Immutable fam, like not the followers, the actual Immutable employees that I promised I wouldn't write a tweet. I just couldn't help myself. I just had to do it. So yeah, but I'm still not fired from the hero program for it. But yeah, I'll try to be more positive next time because it is a really amazing win. Treeverse is so awesome, and I will be doing some tweets and some content on Treeverse in the next coming weeks to highlight that. That's it. That's me.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it, man. I feel you. It was more. I was expecting a lot, and they even beat my expectations, which is saying something. So, my final thoughts. How many months are there in the year, Rubik?
12.
Yeah, and we're in January, right? So that's the first, right?
Yeah.
You can't see it right now if you're on the audio, but I have a picture of the movie The Gladiator, and the GIF is saying, "Are you not entertained?" Mm-hmm. We're in month 1, and look at all these pure announcements. We've got cool cats, we've got imaginary ones, we've got this Katana Inu just today, and Looperlands Treeverse. And we're only in January. ZK EVM is not even out yet. And they're claiming only half of the pipeline is out. And there's, we heard today from that interview, you guys were talking about it, the big one hasn't even hit yet. So, how is Immutable left out of the conversation when the big I'm going to steal from you, the Sinfluencers talk, and claims of pure announcements rain down from the Pump and Dump network. What is it going to take? What more do you need to see of what is going on? And this is just this month. Everything that happened in 2023. How can you not be impressed and say, you know what? There might be something here at Immutable. Maybe we should start having the conversation. And how do we tie our boats to this massive boat that's being built and starting to run and make waves so that we can collect some residual fallout from the massive waves and all the wonderful things that they're doing for the Web3 space. And at the same time, trying to act like the adults in the room. And that's my final thoughts for this week.
Good long show. Thanks to everyone that listened the whole way through. We appreciate you. Like, subscribe. We need to help with the algorithm to help us maintain, keep on doing this, help us grow, help us continue to bring you this huge amount of news every week. It's crazy how much news that one little blockchain can turn into so much news every single week. It's really a pleasure to spend all this effort. So yeah, if we could get your like and all those things that help us, that'd be great.
Yep. Amen. All right. Thanks, brother. We'll talk to you.
See you next week.